Oh, hold on. Okay. Hello, everybody. Twitch. On the phone. Oh, down to 29% again. Also, that's the music. It goes like that. Okay, I think... Can I... Okay. Hello, everybody. Why does this not work? No. Twitch. No. Can you not do this? Stop it. How do I do this, Twitch? Why are you being bad? Ah, thank you. Alright. And enough of that horrible music. It goes on and on and on and on. Okay. It's a shame about the music because, you know, the scary scenes, it's got, like, ambient sounds, and I quite like that, and obviously, can't have that if you want to be sane. So, let's go back. Continue. Okay, so this is week 5. We're here with Caitlin again. Yes. This is... She's just relaxing on these days. She's not doing anything. Apparently. Thank you. Okay, so that's down to 64. That's fine because, yeah, whatever, man. Alright, so, where did we leave this time? Last time around, we believed she was turning into a zombie, and we had a spoiler that this isn't going to go very well with Ashley. Can I remember the voices? Can I do the voices? Here goes, Monday the 30th of June. You're taking a moment to relax in the park. The dreams of the previous week are taking a slow, if unknown, toll on you. Putting these concerns aside, you are deciding what to do for lunch when you feel a slight vibration and realize that you have a call. You take a look and see that it is your brother calling you. Hey, Brandy Buck. What's wrong with his hand? No, his hand. He got experimented on by aliens. Brandon. Ugh, I really wish you wouldn't call me that. Does it look like I have hair on my feet? Well, considering how Nick loved to hide your shoes, you just might.
Mum and Dad were livid to buy me 5 pairs of shoes in 1 year. Not that I can I can fault them.
Blaming it on the dog worked about as well as saying he ate your homework. So how are things on your end?
Pretty good. Mum's getting things like wrapped up and she hopes to be back home in about a month.
That's good to hear. It's a little weird to have you call out of the blue this time of day, though.
Well, actually, is everything alright there?
Things are fine. Why do you ask?
Just fine.
Do I need to repeat myself?
Sorry, things have felt weird lately.
You stiffen as Brandon's admission sends a chill down your spine. Weird in what way?
Well, I had this dream last night.
Go on.
I was home for our birthday. Mum and Dad were throwing a party and everyone was there, all but one person.
Who was missing? Was it you?
That's what was weird. There was no place setting for you. In my dream, I asked them where you were.
What do they say?
That I shouldn't bring up the sad past for a happy occasion. That's when I woke up. Caitlin, are you there?
Yeah, I just don't know what to say.
I did say it was weird.
Oof. Where? Oh, stuff it. You take a deep breath and decide to tell your brother what is going on. If anyone has to believe you, it's him. That's why I selected it. Brandon stays silent as you relay a good part of what you've experienced.
Sis, that sounds...
Crazy? Maybe, but I don't really have an explanation.
I think you should see a doctor.
I probably will.
Good.
You turn off your phone and mull over what Brandon said.
Go see a doctor.
One thing is certain, you decided to make an appointment to see a doctor next week. Yay! Next week. Wonder how that goes. Why are you in the cemetery? Fine. When it was time for your lunch hour, walking in a cemetery was among the last locations you would ever normally find yourself. The only reason you were out here was due to a note Sabrina has surreptitiously passed during your break. Please meet me at the big mausoleum in the cemetery. Sabrina. You glance around and see that you've already arrived first. You pace back and forth for a couple of minutes and decide to look at your surroundings a bit more. Yeah, I'll talk to the raven. You look at the raven, it looks back at you. You spend a few minutes admiring each other, then it takes wing and lands on your shoulder. Why? Sorry, I can't take you home. The raven takes wing and flies off. About that time you hear some feet step through the grass. Footsteps through the grass at a quick pace, and turn around to see Sabrina making her way to you. There you are. I was wondering what kept you. I was making sure we weren't followed. You glance around the cemetery and give a slight chuckle. No one else here but the dead. I wouldn't be so quick to mock them if I were you. Ghosts make for excellent spies. You cock your head and give a measured glance at your stepsister. Realize that she is telling the truth, 'cause why wouldn't she? Then why would you meet in a cemetery of all places, if any place is going to have ghosts? You would be surprised, but actual hauntings are quite rare. Actual? Are you saying all the ghost stories which take place here are fake? Of course not. Hauntings tend to occur when something very emotional happens in an area. Usually the most common ones are where someone died. Well, if I was murdered, I'd like to think it mattered a great deal to me. Precisely. However, such things very rarely happen in cemeteries, so the ghosts have few ties here. Okay, that makes sense. That doesn't include funeral rites. Each culture has their own take, but it is meant to ensure a peaceful rest. And considering we aren't deep and considering we're not deep in foot deep, where would you like to be? Butt deep in the spectras, it must work. Exactly. Finally, as a hunter, well, I can tell if a spirit is around, and they aren't. The two of you walk together through the grass, the only sound coming as you disturb the blades. That's all interesting, but was there a reason you wanted to meet here? I mean, you made it quite clear you don't want me to help you hunt. I only want to keep you safe. And what if I feel the same way about you? Am I not supposed to care about you? Do you remember how things were after Dad and Mum got married? It was tough. Your father was nice enough, but he just wasn't Dad, at least to me and Brandon, if that makes any sense. It does. I felt the same way with your mother. Okay. She was nice enough, but I couldn't help but feel she was an imposter. Oh, right, okay, so a pre-existing children's from different relationships. Okay. Alright. I was wondering that earlier today. I was like going, is it... When they said step, then when they said half, if it was a half-sister, then it would have been the same father. Rightio. She was nice enough, but I couldn't help but feel she was an imposter. I think that is a common feeling. I'm just glad that it faded with time. Do you remember the time we visited your grandparents, the ones on your mum's side? Sabrina's words bring back to mind an incident over 10 years ago, one emblazoned in your mind. You can't forget how your grandmother swore that since Sabrina wasn't blood, she wasn't family, but that wasn't as bad as how your grandfather grew angry since Sabrina and Joshua came from a different ethnicity. Wow. A different ethnicity. That was the last time I saw my grandparents. When they started... Tiny little bug is flying around. It's not quite a fly. When they started saying all that nasty shit, it hurt. I didn't know what to say. You lay a reassuring hand on Sabrina's shoulder in commiseration. But when you stood up to them, when you said that I was your sister, that if I didn't belong, you didn't. I don't know if I put it that way. Close enough. And when I ran, you were there right by me. That's when I knew I mattered to you. Now and always. Sabrina stops and then looks into your face, a shiny wetness in the corner of her eyes. You made a big impression on me. That is one of the reasons I became a huntress, to defend those who couldn't defend themselves. Oh, Sabrina. But there was something else. Maybe I'm fooling myself. I hope not, but what? I love you. And I love you too. I know I'm making a mess of this, but what I mean, I love you. More than one should have for a stepsister. If I could... Sabrina runs a hand along your cheek, a hand providing a warm tenderness. She then pulls back. But could you... Do you feel the same way? Oh no, please don't ask me that. Ugh. You don't want to see your stepsister in anguish, but unfortunately you say the first thing that comes to your mind. Maybe, I don't know. Sabrina nods and pulls a couple feet away from you. Thank you for being honest. She gives a deep sigh, running a hand through her hair. Sorry for making things awkward. I'll leave you be then. Oh, Sabrina, come back. Sabrina begins walking away slowly, turning her head back to you. Every step she takes, you feel a pain in your heart. After just more steps, you run back to her and hug her. Huh? I'm sorry. Yes, I love you too, more than a sister. But you just said... I know, but seeing you go away after opening your heart to me, I don't know. Every step you made away from me hurted me. That moment I knew my feelings for you were real too. Really? Yes, I might have been thinking too much about what other people could tell us if we were a couple. But I don't care anymore about them. I'm willing to give this a try. Sabrina smiles and hugs you back. It lasts a few moments and you can hear her heart beating fast. I really need to go now, but I'm happy we talked about this. Me too. Maybe next time we talk about this will be on a romantic date and not in a graveyard. Yeah, I'd like that. You were nearly deafened when the background music you turned on blared through the loudspeakers and caused a couple tiny cracks to appear on the store window. You felt a general tiredness in your bones. Right now rest would be welcome, though you can't help but wonder if you are the figment of someone's dream, dreaming about being a figment of someone's dream, dreaming about... Okay. Wednesday, 2nd of July. You find yourself walking down the main street. You try to remember what you were doing, how you got there, but the memory proves elusive as ever. You glance around, and though there are lights on the street and in the buildings, it still seems darker than it should be. Looking upward, you can barely make out the stars overhead, though that could be explained by the ambient city lights. Is anyone out there? You only get silence in response. You continue to move forward without purpose. The city is quiet as a grave. Okay. You turn around at the strange laughter and see another person at the end of the street. You try to make out any features, but like before, it is swathed in shadows. I have to say, I've gotten more amusement out of your pitiful flailing than I ever expected. Who are you? Why are you doing this to me? Who am I? Why, I'm just someone looking out for your well-being. Yeah, cut the cryptic bullcrap. There is no need for unseemly vulgarity. We are civilized people here, well, at least I am. So let us behave as such. However, in response to your question, yes, I am who I am. Oh, don't go trying to play Odysseus. A cognate reference to the Odyssey. I didn't know you had it in you. I'm very pleased to know. Stop with the games. There must be a reason you're afraid of revealing your name. Otherwise you dispense with this nonsense and come out of the shadows where I can see you. Oh, and what reason would I have to be afraid? A memory from a class that seems quite distant rises up into your mind. It was an introductory course about folklore, and on this particular day it was talking about the power of names, and if you knew someone's name, you could gain power over them. Excellent. That's it. If I knew your name, I could fight this, whatever this is. I'm impressed. Of course, you're also wrong, at least in part. Oh? What's happening to you? It can't be reversed. Once set in motion, it has to follow its course. You're lying. I never lie. I have no reason to, although I must admit I admire your tenacity somewhat. Few have lasted so long as you have. There are others? If you're thinking searching for others with the same affliction, it will do you no good. Those who came before you are now gone. I'm gonna kill you! You start to move forward, but rather than a smooth, even gait from running, you find yourself stumbling over your own feet. See, it's already taking its toll. Shut up! You try to move forward once more, but find yourself moving in more of a shuffle than anything. What distance you could normally cover is now taking 3 to 4 times as long. Now do you believe me? Even now you can't escape it. To be honest, you would save yourself a lot of pain in the long run if you just accept it and die on the spot, apparently. And never! Gonna die on the spot. I will flail to my death. Alright, growl, if you like. Or at least you thought you said never, but at the same time it sounded like an inarticulate growl. You shamble forwards once more when you feel a sharp pain in the bottom of your foot. Looking down, you see that you've stepped on a board obscured by the darkness, and one with a nail sticking straight up. This isn't real. Except instead of the words you expected to hear, you just let loose another growl. So you're convinced this is a dream? Maybe so, maybe so. However, I would like you to consider one thing. There's an old saying about dreams. You know, if you happen to die in a dream, you die in real life. Nothing says it has to be immediate now, does it? And with that, the shadowy figure turns around and starts walking away, a spring in its step. With fierce determination you try to give chase, but find your movements slowed even more than before. This is partially due to the fact that you still have a board attached to your foot, making your precarious movement even more haphazard. Far out. You open your eyes and see that you're in your room. Nick is giving a slight whine, and when you look to the end of the bed, there appears to be something wrong with your right foot. While it's hard to tell what it is, you detect the smell of blood in the air. Rubbing your hand on the foot, though, you don't feel anything untoward, even if the foot is very tender. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Just as you're about to pass out, you remember that you could never stay awake thinking of Shakespeare. Okay. Thursday, the 3rd of July. Oh dear. I'm in a dress too dressy for dressness. You stop, taking a moment, and smile about how awkward Tyrone was when he asked if you would mind coming to his place for dinner. Woof. What you felt was a bit more questionable was bringing your dog along, but Tyrone still said it would be no problem. Why did you need to take your dog along? And if he doesn't like you, you can always rip the cat limb from limb. As soon as the thought entered your mind, you felt the tension in the leash as Nick moved away. You take a deep breath, and as the thought fades away, your dog comes closer once more. Enough wool gathering. Ready to go, Nick? Woof. You enter Tyrone's place, and the first thing you notice is aroma of food coming from the kitchen. You're just right on time. Nick darts forward and dashes around Tyrone's feet in happiness, binding the werelion's legs with a leash. Yep. Tyrone tries to pet your dog, but bound as he is, he instead falls backwards. Oh my goodness! Lands on the couch with a small thud. Okay. I yield. You unhook Nick and quickly help pull the leash from Tyrone's body. Sorry, he just gets really excited to see you. Now freed, Nick jumps up onto the couch beside Tyrone and starts to lick his hand. I swear he's never acted this excited before. I'm almost disappointed you didn't say it. Say what? I'm making some That's not how Making some kind of pun about animal magnetism. Yeah, no. You look around the room and much to your surprise you see a fish tank toward the back of the room. You come forward and see that it's filled with some brightly coloured fish, though you don't really know what kind they are because you're not a mermaid. Thanks for not tapping on the glass. No problem. I mean, what if it was your window being tapped while you try to go about your day? Still, I'm surprised to see you with fish. Are they, if you ask if they're food, the answer is no, because they're tiny little fishies. They're good company. I mean, I'm not allowed to have any other pet here. What? Okay. Okay, dog's confused. Grr. I don't think there would be a problem with visitors. At that moment you hear a slight ding come from the kitchen. Dinner's done. I hope you like it. I'm sure everything will be fine. Tyrone brings out 3 dishes, each almost a main course in itself. The first is a steak with some garnishment, the second looks to be a vegetarian lasagna, the last is a cherry pie, and... Oh, I didn't know if you're a vegetarian or not, so I take what you want. The aroma of the steak causes your mouth to water slightly, while Nick simply stares up at you with puppy dog eyes. This smells divine, and yes, Nick, you will get the bone. Nope. Too cooked. Better torn flesh, blood flavouring the meat. Tyrone looks at you strangely and then shakes his head. What's the matter? For a moment I felt a presence there, something that liked blood and worse. Now it's gone. Would it surprise you that I think you're right? I hear a small voice. I thought it was just me, but if you can tell... Werewolves tend to have the better snouts, but I promise you something was there. So, I'm not going crazy. At least not with that. Then there's something going on, or what? That I don't know. There are some people I could ask, but they're out of town at the moment. Then I have to put up with whatever this is. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I assume it's been going on for a while now. Yes. Then you're probably fine. If it was some kind of creature, well, they would have attacked by now, except... Except what? I could normally tell if it was some kind of spirit that latched onto you. Oh, at least I don't need an exorcist then. You sit down on the couch and consume your meal in silence, because apparently there's no table. Nick occasionally whining at you for a treat. You take a small bite from your meal, and when Tyrone isn't looking, you slip it down to Nick. This catches Tyrone's attention and he sees what you're doing but simply smiles. I didn't see anything, I promise. So are you normally this good with dogs, or does Nick just have a crush on you? I would think with you being part feline. I know, you would think canines would have it out for me. That isn't the case. In fact, other cats tend to hate me. Really? Honest. They normally stay away, but if they feel cornered, well, welcome to Scratch City, population me. I like Tyrone, he's cute. Do you think that I'm becoming a werewolf then? No, you're becoming a zombie. Yeah, what makes you think that? Nick started to act funny around me at times, so if so, I don't recall being bitten by a werewolf. Being bitten by one won't make you one. The only way you can be a shape changer, assuming you don't use magic, is to be born that way. And trust me, a true shape changer can tell the real different from a fake. The real from a fake? Darn, I guess I will have to just handle disappointment. Tyrone coughs slightly and runs his hand through his hair. I didn't really have anything planned for after supper, I'm sad to say. Wasn't that cherry pie? Are you tweaked? Wasn't enough food for two... That's alright, we'll just think of something to do rather than eat, you know, 'cause food is not everything. Go for a walk. It's what you've been doing the whole entire game. Well, I think Nick wouldn't mind going for a short walk, would you, boy? Yep. You hand Tyrone the leash, and almost like a small missile, Nick lands on Tyrone's chest, and he falls back on the couch, giggling. Alright, I guess I'll be holding the leash. Sounds like a plan. Let me put the plates away, and I'll be ready to go. Your work was delayed by several hours as several men and women in black suits cordoned off part of the university and forbid anyone from entering. Weird. Friday. Okay. I don't know what this is. Looks like Mrs. Potts' place. You inhale deeply as a myriad of scents assault your nostrils, rising from the large variety of plants being raised in this greenhouse. From the corner of your eye, you see Ashley elbow deep in a tub of soil, mixing up by hand, occasionally adding something from a nearby bag. How did you... Whoa! Catelyn! How did you know that I like dirty girls? I had a feeling you were going to say something like that. Am I getting predictable in my old age? Yes, Catelyn. If you're old, then what does that make me? I mean, I am 5 years older than you. Vintage. I would think you're vintage. This better be not some kind of car joke. I was thinking more like a fine wine, the better to taste. And let me guess, you would be the taste tester? What? Ashley wraps up what she's doing and quickly washes her hands off. Though clean, you can still detect the hint of spilled dirt, because that's how dirt works. Like an open grave. Looks like someone is in a playful mood. It's either that or wallow in self-pity. I know which one is more fun. Oh, God, what the... Ashley stands behind you, pressing her chest to the small of your back. She sighs, while one hand enfolds your waist. A hum starts low in her throat, and Ashley starts to sway. And now you're just teasing me. Turnabout is fair play, won't you say? The hand moves from your waist and starts to caress your thigh, when a loud noise outside causes her to jump. Ashley steps back and then gives a slight sigh of regret. I'm sorry to meet you here. I know we had a date, but something came up. Don't think anything of it. I didn't invite you for a date. That wasn't me. Stuff happens. Still, I'm glad that you're able to stop by. It sure made the day go better. I won't deny that I was half afraid that something supernatural happened. I mean... Maybe you made some Drea jealous. I'm assuming they exist. Okay. I won't deny that I was half afraid that something supernatural happened. I mean, maybe you made someone jealous, assuming that the dryads exist. Yes, but most of them don't care for greenhouses. They like to be out in the open, not cooped up in some building. So if you don't mind me asking, what happened? Oh, I needed to put some additives into the soil. Unfortunately, the compound came today, not tomorrow, and would have degraded if I waited that long. That's a pretty mysterious compound. Makes sense, especially if it was a bit expensive. That it was. Plus I had some news I wanted to tell you, and this is a nice private spot. I gather it's about my condition? Not the bug on my nose? What have you found out? Unfortunately not a lot on my own. However, I know someone who is interested about it, and they agreed to meet you. Do I know them? What do they want? You might know them, but I don't want to reveal it. I mean, the caster might be listening even now. Are you afraid I would turn traitor? No, you've shown you're still in control of yourself. If you weren't, I'd be rampaging up and down the street. At least until someone put a bullet in your head. Good point. However, that doesn't mean the caster couldn't still snoop on you. After all, they were aware of your presence when we fought. That caster, right. So he could be listening in on us now. Then why even mention it at all? They might, but not likely. I mean, they only acted when I started sniffing around. So when do we get to meet? Or is that a secret? Sometime next week. I tried to make it sooner, but they were unable to. Then I guess there is no avoiding it. So while I'm here, is there anything I can give you a hand with? Ashley takes you to a small bed of flowers, a small riot of colours on display. This looks really nice. Thanks. What is your favourite flower? What's your favourite flower? Not going to give me a bouquet of them. Unless you wish me to adore... I have something else in mind. Blue lilac. They do contrast nicely with your hair. Oh, sorry, that was... Blue lilac. They do contrast nicely with your hair. I hope you don't plan on twining them in my hair, then there would be petals everywhere. Although it is a more romantic way to follow you. Thanks, that's all I need for now. Well, I hope it is a pleasant surprise. Given my luck, I probably picked out the flowers for my own funeral. Nothing as macabre as that, I swear. Nice greenhouse. Oh, it's a weekend. Yay. Confirmed choice. Definitely Tyrone. Go to the beach. No, why are you in your pajamas? Oh, play beach volleyball. The victories rack up as Tyrone's prowess serves him in good stead playing volleyball. Less pleased is when the other team invited him to go out on a date with them, to which Tyrone politely declined. Yeah, I'm not getting that up to 12. So... Oh, I've already been on a date this week. Why have I got a business alliance? I just stuffed that up somehow. I don't even know. Thanks. I'll cherish this. The only thing that could be better would be actually swimming with the whales. I don't even know. What does this work? Fine. You know what? Stuff it. Let's just go. Save, I guess. Save it there. Go back. Press start. Monday the 7th of July. You wait with great trepidation in the doctor's office. You glance at the wall and see the doctor is running about 15 minutes behind, but that isn't so unusual, especially if another patient required extra attention. You notice one poster on the wall showing the various muscles and layers of skin of the human body, and unexpectedly you find saliva slowly increasing in your mouth and feel a faint echo of hunger in your stomach. You shake your head and go back to waiting patiently. A few more minutes pass when you hear a knock on the door and someone enters. She is looking at a small laptop, then puts it down as she approaches you. Good morning, Catelyn, was it? Unless someone used whiteout on my birth certificate. Jade gives a slight smile and takes a seat opposite you. I'm sorry your normal family doctor is not here, but he went on vacation. That's all right. So what brings you in today? I think something is wrong with me. Why don't you tell me about it while I take your vitals? Jade takes a stethoscope, or a grasshopper, choose your pick, from a nearby drawer and starts to listen to your various body processes while you talk. I've been incredibly tired lately. Trouble sleeping? That's the thing. I've been sleeping longer than normal, but it doesn't seem to help. Okay. Anything else? And my appetite has been weird. While you try to add more detail about your diet, you are briefly interrupted by the doctor. That's weird. The doctor takes the stethoscope and gives it a couple tentative taps. Something wrong. Yes, this is defective. I couldn't hear your heartbeat for at least half a full minute. Anyways, besides your appetite and sleep patterns, is anything else happening? Did we not... Well, you start to talk about some of the dreams and nightmares you've experienced lately. The doctor bites a lip and gives a slight nod as you wind down. It is possible that your sleep habits are inducing these dreams, although there can be some other cause. Is there anything I can do? Try to eliminate as much stress as possible while we look at other causes. So, is there something you can do to help me, or did I just spend all my money for no good reason? I'm afraid we are going to have to run a few tests and then go from there. First, I'll need to get blood and urine samples. All right. You feel a slight jerk on your arm as you play tug-of-war with your dog. His jaws are holding one end of a stick while you hold the other. After a few more minutes, Nick lets go and the stick hits you in the forehead. Ow! You did that on purpose, didn't you? Ruff! Nick dances around at your feet, tail waggling happily as he wants to continue playing. For the moment, your presence doesn't seem to be putting him off. Oof! Okay, here you go. You lift the stick waist high and get in the stance to toss it. You give the stick a long toss and it lands in a pile of bushes. Nick furiously charges after it, scaring a couple of birds who immediately take to the skies. Remind me never to get between him and his supper dish. It doesn't take him long to wolf it down. Sorry, just a turn of phrase. Nick pads back to you and freezes when he's about 5 feet away. He drops the stick, protectively lying down over it. You tap your thigh, gesturing for Nick to come towards you, but he keeps maintaining his distance. At least he's well trained. When he was a puppy, he would sometimes get loose. It was cheaper to train him than pay the fines. So what are you doing out here? Oh, I was just taking a jog when I spotted you. I've been mulling something over in my head. Are you seeing someone else? Not exactly. Did you plan on breaking up with me? What do you mean? Tyrone is a whale lion. Maybe you don't know it, but his scent clings to you as well as mine. How is that possible? It isn't like he rubbed up against me. You don't have to. Just being around a shapeshifter for a length of time will do that. Is it wrong that I wish I was the only girl to make you blush? What do you mean? I've spotted you and Sabrina together. You're a lot more friendly than I initially thought. Please don't start a fight with her. Yeah, that's a good answer. I didn't plan on it. For one thing, I know she carries a silver dagger on her. Look, I really don't want to create a scene. We could take this someplace more private. No thanks. I'd rather just get this out of the way. I think it's obvious I'm serious about you, but am I as important to you? Am I as important to you? If not, then better to break it off now. Oh. Your choices made you break up with Ashley. Because I never actually, invited her on a date or anything. I think it is best for us to split up. I thought that was what you were going to say, because that would be smart. We can still be friends. I don't know. I don't usually want to tear the head off my friends. Ugh. Yucky. It's always yuck, I guess. Ashley walks away, sparing a final glance at you, and leaves the park. When the first customer came in and pre-ordered a tape full of static, you thought it might be some practical joke, but you soon became swamped as several other customers came in and ordered this exact same thing, paying cash to ensure they got their item. You wonder if you should get up or not. Then you notice Nick sleeping by your side, head rested on your leg. He looks so peaceful it would be a shame to disturb him. Then your dog yawns and you yawn in return, eyes drooping when darkness closes in. And for some reason we managed to snag a job in the cafeteria. You felt a general tiredness in your bones. Right now, rest would be welcome, though you can't help but wonder if you are the figment of someone's dream, dreaming about a figment of someone's dream, dreaming about Z's. You exhale softly as you're winding down for the day. You glance at the clock and see it's just a little after 4 p.m. It's going to be at least another hour before dinner starts. You sit down on the couch and turn on the television. You start to go through the various channels, but nothing really catches your attention. Woof! You look down and your dog is staring at you with mournful eyes. He then looks at the empty spot next to you, then returns his gaze back to you. Alright, you can get up here with me. You give the empty space a loud pat and Nick eagerly jumps up onto the couch. Don't tell Dad I let you up here, okay? This is our little secret. Woof, 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 woof. Apparently lots of woofs. You watch for several minutes as your dog proceeds to circle around the cushion before finding just the right spot and lies down right next to you. You absent-mindedly start to pet Nick's head, and this brings you a calm that's been lacking quite a bit lately. After another 15 minutes pass, you feel a slight tug near your right wrist. Looking down, you see that Nick is playfully pulling on your bracelet. When he notices you staring at him, he stops and lowers his head to the ground and gives a happy bark. Who wants to play? Who wants to play? You do, don't you? A woof, woof, woof. You look around for one of Nick's toys. Normally there would be one or two readily at hand, but it appears all have been put away. Somebody cleaned. Nick stops messing with your bracelet and starts to dig at the edge where the cushion meets the back of the couch. However, he has little success moving it aside. Is something in there? Woof, 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 I am a psychopath dog. You gingerly push the cushion slightly ahead and see a small piece of rope lying under it. Is this what you want? Woof. Nick picks up the rope with his mouth and gives his head a mighty shake. He jumps off the couch and puts the rope at your feet, gives it a tentative nudge in your direction with his nose. Grr, let's see how strong you are. Nick playfully jumps up and down at your feet before grabbing one end of the rope. You pick up the other and utter your own approximation of growls while pulling back and forth. Oh, what was that? Suddenly you hear a sickening crunch. You briefly scan the room before looking at your arm. To your surprise, it looks to have been torn off, separated at your shoulder. For a few precious seconds you sit there dumbfounded while your dog continues to playing tug of war. You're a little too late letting go of the rope before your arm hits the floor with a solid thump. First thing you're aware of is a breeze tickling your now exposed armpit. Strangely, there is no pain from your wound and very little blood. However, the scent of rotting meat fills your nostrils. With morbid curiosity, you look closer at your arm. You bend down as if to touch it with your dominant hand, but realize this is the one currently resting on the floor. That's mental. If it's your right arm, alright, has fallen off, you would try to reach for it with your left arm. That's how your brain works. Nick, however, is pleased by this dramatic change. His attention is focused entirely on your arm. He sniffs every inch of it, moving slowly along its length. When he completes his circle, he gives your exposed palm a tentative lick, and that's when you notice drool gathering in the corner of Nick's mouth. Don't you even think about it! Nick's appetite proves greater than your training. With a strength belying his small frame, starts to drag the arm along the floor, leaving a trail of skin and meat behind. Grab your arm with your remaining one, you derp. You bend down with your remaining appendage and grab the end of your arm. Nick, thinking you are playing again, starts to pull at the other end. Drop it, I say! Unfortunately, Nick isn't listening to you. He gives a slight yip of pain as he pulls one of your fingers off, and he tumbles backwards. Oh, yuck. Suddenly a loud yip penetrates your awareness and your eyes flash open. Looking around, you see that you're sitting on the living room couch, where you were. Oh. It's not the zombie! It's the waking dreams that's really starting to do a mental on me. Must have dozed off. Nick, meanwhile, is standing about 10 feet from you. He sniffs the air, gives out a plaintive whine, then tries to hide under the table. Too right. Today you're extra cautious as there was a memo stating it would be inadvisable to touch the lawn gnomes as the university wouldn't be liable for any injuries from them. You find yourself in the park when you spy Tyrone sitting on a bench near the pond. He seems quite subdued, feeding bread of all things to the ducks. You keep feeding them, they'll be too heavy to fly. Tyrone's face lightens up as he notices your approach. He must definitely be preoccupied with something because he usually can detect your presence before you can even greet him. You figured out my simple plan. Fatten them up, and then when Thanksgiving rolls around... I can't see you doing that. For one thing, you would find it too easy. You sit by his side and toss a couple pieces of bread to the ducks. Be careful of the one on the right. He's really greedy and won't be afraid to take your finger. You feel a slight shiver go down your spine, since considering your dreams of the past few weeks, such an outcome seems more and more likely. That's when you notice a couple deep cuts on Tyrone's arm, and from the way they look, it could only have happened in the last day or so. What happened? Tyrone stops feeding the ducks, much to their collective annoyance, and flexes his arm. I ran into a bit of trouble last night, but nothing that I couldn't handle. What kind of trouble, or do I have to twist your tail to find out? Oh, I was just fulfilling my role as a gentleman and helping a damsel in distress. Oh, I didn't know we had any dragons in the area. Not quite, but there are dark things out there if you're not careful. Speaking of damsels... Suddenly Tyrone stops, looks off into the distance, and you see Sabrina walking past. Oh god, all hell breaks loose. Tyrone cups his hands and yells at your stepsister. Hey! Hey! It's nice to see you again. Come on over. Sabrina taps her chest, then sees you nearby and she quickly closes the distance. I didn't expect you to see you around. How are you doing? Better. I'm glad to see you bounce back from your injuries. It was a good thing I arrived when I did. I thought you were... Oh. I thought you said you were rescuing a damsel in distress. It was just a slight embellishment. Actually, it was more of a 50-50. Oh, where are my manners? Let me introduce. Sabrina gives a questioning glance between you and Tyrone, and you squirm a little under her scrutiny. Actually, we already know each other. Oh, good. Then we don't have to censor ourselves, do we? No. Catelyn is a bit in the know, as it were. So what happened between you two? I was tracking. Well, I thought it was a vampire. People were showing the usual symptoms, feeling drained, blood loss, that sort of thing. If it was, I was going to give it a single warning before... Sabrina left off the rest of the statement, but Tyrone drew a line across his throat with his thumb. Except when cornered, it was no vampire. It burst into several fireflies. That was about the time I showed up. I had been tracking it on my own and recognized its scent. It was an adzi. It was an adzi? It was an adzi. Adzi? The farming tool? Okay. This is not a word, I'm sure. Oh. Okay, alright. You got me. You got me game. Hold on a sec. Oh. Okay. No. I got this strange urge to go run for my dictionary. But anyway. Same word, but different meaning. The Azzy is a creature from Africa. What's it doing here? I admit I was holding my own, but I don't know how long I would have lasted until your friend showed up. Excuse me. How would you kill something that can split into bugs? Bug spray. Lots and lots of bug spray. Sabrina gives a slight chuckle as Tyrone's response, but he suddenly goes quiet. He takes a deep breath and momentarily tastes the air with his tongue. A puzzled look crosses his face. I did say perhaps. He inhales deeply from Sabrina, then takes another sniff from your direction, and then goes, oh shoot. Really? Tyrone? Sabrina, like everybody's lived in the same town their entire lives. Sabrina, just how you know Catelyn? What do you mean? a smeller on you and you on her, not just a faint whiff, but as two people who spend a long time together, as if... Tyrone's voice drops and he glances your way. As if they're a couple. Oh, that's so nasty! That's one thing about a romance novel. The romance. Oh, it's sickening. Really sickening. You're mistaken, I promise you. Meanwhile, Sabrina goes, buries her head, and dies. Bites her lip, and for a moment she clenches her fists and turns around. Unsure of what has just taken place, Tyrone rises, places a hand on Sabrina's shoulder, and makes her stop. What's going on? Nothing, just a mistake, as Catelyn said. She then starts to move away once more. Your choices made you break up with Sabrina. However, your relationship with Tyrone will continue until the end of the story. Sucks to be me. Today was an odd day as someone tried to pay for their bill in gold doubloons. Fortunately, they could pay for their food in nickels. Shoot. Ride the roller coaster. Tyrone loved the thrill of the ride, but fell down when he exited the roller coaster. He laughed when you made a comment about a cat always landing on its feet. Well, we got halfway. Pretty sure we're over halfway in the game. But anyway, another restless night, another restless sleep. Although you can't remember what the dream was this time, they are definitely getting more and more frequent. However, something is different with these dreams. When you awaken, instead of feeling tired... Really? You feel powerful. You get up and look at yourself in the mirror, and the changes are noticeable, even if no one else has said anything. For one thing, you appear more gaunt, more bent, but you would swear that you had more energy than before. You find yourself able to stay up over half the night, and you're almost as refreshed as if you had a good night's sleep. This doesn't even include the small splotches, which are darkening parts of your body. For the moment, you're able to see most of them obscure, but they are becoming noticeable. Not only that, you think your senses are becoming more acute. For one thing, on those nights which you lay awake, you can make out sharp details in the darkness. At times, you think you can make out the individual lines in the ceiling tile. For that matter, you think your hearing is becoming stronger as well. If you close your eyes and black out all distractions, you swear you can hear the breathing of Sabrina as she sleeps the day away. If you are a little uncertain about your sight and hearing improving, you know your sense of smell is getting better. Right now you can smell the bacon your father is preparing to cook. Your stomach gurgles with hunger, then you feel a slight revulsion, which you push away at the idea of cooked meat. However, as your latest bout with nausea demonstrates, not everything is to your benefit. Your diet is steadily changing. While you're still able to eat normal food, you're also experiencing flashes and hunger pangs for raw meat. The bloodier, the better. The other thing is that the flashes of irritation, of anger, are becoming more frequent. So far, you're able to keep a lid on your emotions, but your control is starting to slip. Probably the most troubling change is that you don't seem to feel pain as much. Just the previous day you cut yourself while shaving your legs and you didn't feel it. Nor did your blood seem to be the same. As it started to ooze out, it was thick, more like gelatin than a liquid. You glance at your reflection and squint as something else seems off. You lean in close and pull your lower eyelid down with your index finger. You take a good long look, and a slightly milky substance seems to be covering your iris. Breakfast ready! Come and get it! Once again your stomach gurgles, but not with anticipation. You hear the padding of little feet and look toward the hallway, only to see your dog pass by. Nick stops at your door and stares at you. He sniffs the air and his body becomes more taut. He lowers his head and gives a menacing a growl as he can. Make nice with your dog. Nick stops growling and looks like he wants to come to you, but every time he moves forward he stops. He has a confused look on his face, yeah. Then he runs down the hall. You shake your head and go to get ready for the day. Ugh. Wow, how did you get a hold of this? It has his signature and everything. You know he is one reason I really wanted to get into basketball. Yeah. There goes Sabrina. Oh, we're not doing very well. Save and load. Okay, go back. Start. Week 7? Yeah. While wiping down a table, you couldn't help but notice a customer left shards of what proved to be bone behind. Tuesday, the 15th of July. It is early morning when you feel a slight vibration coming from your phone. You look at the number and for a moment you are trying to figure out who it is, and then see that it is from the doctor you went to. Good morning. That will depend on what you find out. Well, it is a bit of a mixed bag there, especially every test we ran came back negative. As far as I can determine, you're a healthy individual. Really? Are you saying I lied? I never said that. There are instances where something is going on, but if conventional tests may not detect it, or even know what to look for. So we're leaving up to blind chance? Unfortunately, yes. We will have to keep going until we find. Suddenly you feel a spasm run through your body and you momentarily lurch forward. This involuntary movement also causes your hand to squeeze, and you crush your cell phone as if it was made out of tissue paper. Broken pieces of plastic and metal start to fall as you regain control of your hand. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Just about to pass out, you remember that you could never stay awake with Shakespeare. You stifle a yearn, the urge to sleep coming upon you. You hope this time you can get some pleasant dreams, such as the one with your high school crush and the chocolate sauce. Let's say 17th of July. Okay, that looks like a long one. You take a seat on the couch and look at the clock. You agreed to go out with Tyrone, and he should be arriving relatively soon. You glance over and see your dad talking rather animatedly on the phone. She's right here, actually. Catelyn, your mom would like to talk to you. Sure thing, Dad. I'm going to have company soon. Don't worry, I can answer the door. Joshua hands you his cell phone and you see the smiling face of your mother on the other end. That's not how phones work. What is this, Skype? Alright, video call it is. Hey, Mum. Are you enjoying the conference?
They're going pretty good. Even if some of the speakers are long-winded. Winded. Is everything all right with you, hon? You look a little peaked.
I'm just a little tired. I've been having a few long days.
Well, don't work yourself into the grave. I'm glad that you're feeling fine, though. Your brother...
Is something wrong with Brandon?
It's hard to say. He mentioned something about having some weird dreams.
How weird?
Myself, I think he's been watching too many horror movies. Why, he dreamed that you tore his head off in one of them. Have you ever heard such a thing?
Not really, no. Maybe Brandon isn't getting enough sleep. Before you can continue, you hear the doorbell ring and the muffled voice of your father talking to someone. Another moment passes when you hear the front door slam. Catelyn, your boyfriend's here.
Boyfriend? Is that what your father said?
Yes, Mum. Let me guess. You want to meet him?
Of course. I promise not to embarrass you with any stories about when you were a baby.
I'll hold you to that. All right, hang on for a second. You walk to where your father is and see him engaged in a deep conversation with Tyrone. From Joshua's relaxed stance and the smile on his face, you can tell the two of them getting along really well. When Catelyn accidentally mooned the mare, I mean, she was only 3 years old, but so much for embarrassing baby stories. The conversation dies down when both men see you looking at them. Red tinges Joshua's cheek slightly, but an amused grin dances on Tyrone's face. Your dad was telling me the most fascinating things about you. I'll bet.
If you don't mind, there is someone I'd like you to meet.
Sure thing. Who is it?
My mom.
You hand Tyrone the phone and he almost drops it when a loud sound is emitted from it.
Do you know who you are?
I'm pretty sure he knows, Mum. Jeez. It seems you know of me, madam. I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm Mona Sakat. Kincaid. Did I hear my husband right? You're dating my little girl?
Well, I've had the honour to go out with her a few times, so yes, I guess we are, Miss.
Please call me Mona or Mom, whichever you're more comfortable with. Mom. Sorry, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I mean, it isn't like you two set up a wedding date for...
Mom, please just stop. You promise, remember?
There's only stories about... Oh, right, I'll behave, I'll promise.
Well, have a go at it anyway, Mum, please. I take it you're a fan of mine.
Only the biggest. I mean, you led the university basketball team to its biggest season in a long time, and I just know that you'll do it again.
Oh, well, thanks for the kind words.
Oh, sorry, you don't need to hear me gush. I promise not to delay you two any longer. Actually, there is one last thing. Tyrone, would you mind autographing something for me?
Sure, no problem. What would you like it to say?
To your biggest fan and future mother and... Mum! How about to your biggest fan? Anyways, I promise not to keep bothering you two. Have a good night.
Farewell, Mona. Tyrone hands the phone back to you and you turn it off, leaving it on the table for your dad. So, what did you think of my parents? They're nice. Maybe the best reception I got when meeting someone else's folks.
Only maybe.
Well, the other ones didn't give me ear trauma. Sorry about that. I figured Mum would be jazzed if she met you, as it were, but I didn't expect that. I think there were banshees who were quieter than... And that bit about
About planning a wedding, yeah. I think just seeing you short-circuited her brain.
I sometimes have that effect on people.
Nice to see you have a healthy ego.
Hey, when it comes to attention, I think you have me beat, hands down. Silence slowly fills the room and your foot taps quietly on the ground.
I do want to thank you for not saying anything.
Say what?
I don't know, maybe an "I told you so."
You run your hand along your skin and to a dark spot that is much darker than before.
The dreams, the hunger pangs, these changes, what do you think it is?
Well, I'm really not that good with this sort of stuff, but it smells like a curse of some kind. Considering you can turn into a lion, and curses aren't exactly beyond the bounds of possibility, is there anything I can do about it? Oh, definitely. I mean, if it was one that made you walk in front of a bus, it would have gone off by now. No, this is a long-term one, and usually those can be broken.
Well, as opposed to walking in front of the bus, is there head and shoulders above that?
Usually? Well, once again, I'm not really that good with this stuff, but I know someone who is. I'll ask her when she thinks and gets back to you.
So I'm just supposed to sit back and take my lumps and die horribly?
Unless you studied metaphysics all your life, there isn't much you can do.
I'm just a little surprised that you don't know more about this.
Just because someone might be born touched by the supernatural doesn't automatically make you an expert. Oh, is he like breaking up with her or something? Once again, silence fills the room and Tyron fidgets slightly. See you later, Tyron. I think I've ruined the night. Would it be better if I came back some other time? I could use a distraction. You grab Tyron's wrist and start moving towards the door. Much to your surprise, he seems rather light to your touch. Would you mind easing up a little? I'd like to get some circulation back in my arm.
Sorry, I guess I don't know my own strength. If you don't mind, let's go out. There's a lot to think about, but not tonight.
Not a problem. Did you have somewhere in mind?
Dig up a grave or two.
Let's go dancing.
Why would you dig up a grave or two? Well, anyway. Oh, I was not done. Can you just let me sit down? Ugh.
As you were taking trash out to the dumpster, you felt a chill run down your spine as the side looks caved in from a serious blow, while the metal cover has several gashes resembling claw marks on the top.
Excuse me.
Friday, 18th of July. You sit down on the couch and heave a deep sigh. Whatever is happening to you is getting worse, despite what the doctor's report said. You close your eyes to take a few peaceful minutes, when time slowly slips away from you and you fall into a deep sleep. Wake up!
Well, I'm awake.
You've been out like a light. I've been trying to get you up for 15 minutes now. 15 minutes? You look over at the clock and according to it, you've been asleep for at least 3 hours. I'm starting to get really worried about you, Kathleen Lawrence. You and me both. You aren't on anything. I mean, if you are, we can get you help. Are you seriously asking me if I'm on drugs? Joshua raises his hands in supplication. I'm sorry, I just want to help. I know, Dad, but there isn't anything you can do. Are you sure? I mean, have you seen a doctor? Already did. What did they say? You dig through your belongings and pull out a crumpled up scrap of paper, a summary of lab results from your previous visit.
They could find nothing wrong.
Really? Are they blind? I mean, you're ice cold. Joshua lays his hand across your forehead for emphasis. For a moment it feels like a match was applied to your skin, but this fades as you realize your stepfather's hand is definitely warmer than you. I was getting ready to call an ambulance. I think I still should. However, you don't really pay attention to Joshua's words. Instead, you go up to the nearest mirror, stand less than an inch away. I don't think now is the best time for you to check your appearance. Remembering one way to check someone's state, you exhale onto the mirror and nothing happens. Maybe you're doing something wrong, but you expected the mirror to fog up at least a little bit. You stagger backwards, though you can't tell whether it's from surprise or just a change in how you walk. You look like you've seen a ghost. Almost. My breath. The mirror didn't fog over from my breath. What? Really? Seriously. You feel a surge of panic rising from the pit of your stomach. You look over at your stepfather with raw fear on your face. What am I supposed to do? You make your way back to the couch and sit down, burying your face in your hands. I'll take care of everything. What? I'll take care of everything. Here, maybe some tea will calm you down. You sit quietly as Joshua enters the kitchen and goes about making you some hot, fresh tea. Soon the aroma tamps down some of your panic. After a few more minutes pass, he puts a really warm cup in your hands. You look down at the drink and swirl it around. Is it? Straight, just like you like it. You curl up on the couch and slowly drain the cup. Joshua sits close by, and that's when you notice him glancing at the kitchen. You follow his gaze, see several medicinal-looking bottles on the counter. What did he do? Before you can finish speaking, your eyes feel very heavy and you pass out. Alright. Thunk, thunk. Someone's being buried. You open your eyes with a slight pounding in your head. You try to look around but find everything is sideways. From your initial glance, you appear to be in the cemetery. You make as if to stand but find that your legs and arms don't obey your intent. However, this isn't due to them acting on their own, but rather the fact that they're tied together by duct tape. This is serious. Thunk, thunk. It's definitely a shovel sound. You wriggle around until you manage to sit on your butt. Ahead of you, from an open pit on the ground, you see a shovel rise and fall, and your stepfather is the one yielding it. What? It isn't right. What's the last thing I can think to... But the last thing I can do is make sure Caitlin Lawrence rests in peace. A wave of anger at this betrayal surges through you, and you find yourself snapping your bonds as if they were tissue paper. You have a few minutes to figure out what to do next. Hell. You decide discretion is the better course of action, and you get up and rush into the mass of tombstones. However, just as you do so, the fog suddenly grows thicker, and eventually you can't see more than a foot in front of you. You blindly move around and then grunt as you fall into a hole. No, a small pit in the ground. Cursing, you realize that you must have somehow circled around and ended right back where you started from. How? Your attention is caught by the sound of feet crunching on gravel. You look up and see a shadowy figure wielding a shovel, with its point coming toward... Oh! I'll use the word disconcerting. Your eyes snap open, and once more finding yourself sitting on the couch. Hesitantly, uncertainly, you take a pulse, and much to your relief find a steady beat, although it might be to your imagination, but it somehow felt a little slow. Today was an odd day, as someone tried to pay for their bill in gold doubloons. Fortunately, they could pay... Oh. Can I read that? Bumper cars. The ride seemed to be fun enough, but you got banged up more than expected. When you looked, you saw that you were actually bruised. With a wry grin, Tyrone kissed it, promising it will make it better. Yeah, we're not getting this. I am seriously gonna die if I don't de-stress here. Please stop stressing. No, please. Alright, week 8. Monday, the 21st of July. You're taking a stroll through the park, as it is one of the few places you can feel at peace. You starting to realize the less people you're around, the calmer you stay. It's as if whatever is happening to me is also trying to drive me away from those I love. Well, the game did that. Oh! Ew! As this thought enters your head, you wonder if this is the deliberate result of your condition or a byproduct. You're so deep in thought, you don't even notice the man in front of you until you accidentally bump into him and see him sprawling to the ground. Who does that? Mans, you're not very manly, mans. What the heck? A woman of ancient Asian descent lays a reassuring hand on Rocco's shoulder. Hun, are you alright? You rush over and bend down to get a closer look at the fallen man. You extend your hand in a placating manner to help him up. I'm sorry about that, I wasn't looking. Rocco's surprised look quickly turns to one of anger and he slaps your hand away with great force. Meko, stand back. But this does not concern you. Meko frowns slightly and she steps back, unsure of what else to do. You find yourself unbalanced, and it is only by relying on the training from your gymnastics class from way back when that you stand upright. I apologize already. What more do you want? That's not good enough. No, what? That's when you see there is a tear on Rocco's jeans. Fortunately, he didn't suffer greater injury when he hit the ground. I'll buy you some new pants. And you think that will be enough to make this right? Yup. Rocco leans in and you notice his eyes taking in your figure. I'm willing to let this matter slide for one single thing. And what is that? Rocco leans in and whispers in your ear about you meeting up with his girlfriend at a nearby motel, and the camera would be involved. You feel a surge of anger rush through you, and for a moment this floods through your mind. You give a distant glance at Rocco, and your heart slowly starts to beat as your body responds to the situation. Punch him. Rocco smirks as he sees you pull your hand back and get ready to slug him. I ain't got all day. Your fist lashes out with power and speed beyond anything you ever felt before, and connect with Rocco's midsection. There is an audible crack as you know you broke a rib or two. A look of intense pain crosses his face, and Rocco drops to the ground and falls down on his face.
Oh God, you killed him!
Rocco's girlfriend rushes over and kneels, trying to find a pulse. Somehow, despite the woman's word, you know the man isn't dead. Panic slowly fills your awareness, and for a moment you try to decide what to do. Then you feel a slight urging at the back of your skull.
Take them both. There is no one around, and they are weak.
You bite your lip and instead make your escape. Your supervisor complimented you on a job well done, especially for helping customers on a Saturday. The only thing is, you don't work on Saturdays. You felt a general tiredness in your bones. Right now rest would be welcome, though you can't help but wonder if you are the figment of someone's dream. Wednesday, the 23rd of July. You open your eyes from your slumber and almost shut them up just as instantly. Even with your eyes closed, you can make out a rather bright light surrounding you. A few minutes pass and your vision becomes acclimated to the ambient light. You open your eyes and find yourself seated behind a desk in a rather opulent office. You blink twice, unsure of what is going on. However, when you examine your desk, you see that there's an engraved nameplate at the front. Looking straight down, you see that you are involved in a bunch of paperwork, all filled with your handwriting. However, if you try to make out further details, everything starts to blur. You are slightly startled by a semi-loud thump, and you find yourself hugging your arms close to your chest as a flow of rather... why do you say that? Of rather cold air chills you to the bone. Must be the air conditioning. When you look down, you realize your clothes are suddenly missing. However, the dark splotches on your body seem more vivid in the bright office. That's when you hear a knock at your office door. May I come in? Are you decent? You decide to try and buy some time as much as possible. Who is it? You know perfectly well who it is. A shadows comes in. Even if you can't see who it is, somehow it seems familiar, like you've met it before, like 100,000 times in your dreams over the last 6 weeks. I'm afraid that is interesting as your current state of dress is, Mrs. Lawrence. It will not be enough for you to keep your job. Job? That's exactly what I'm talking about. You've been very absent-minded lately, sleeping on the job, terrorizing your co-workers, cannibalizing delivery personnel. What? See, you're just proving my point. It's a shame, really, because when I first chose you, you seemed to have a bright future ahead of you, but now... Wait, who are you? Show me your face! Blaming others for your shortcomings. To think all of your potential wasted. You feel a surge of anger rush through you, and your left hand clenches into a fist. What do you intend to do with that? You move as if to threaten your boss, but the shadow doesn't move an inch. That's when things go from bad to worse. You hear a loud thump and feel a lightness in your arm. Looking down, you see that your hand has fallen onto the desk, no longer attached to your wrist. I know this news must be upsetting to you, but pull yourself together. At least show some dignity. And what would you know of dignity, other than all of the dignity you took away from me? I'm not the one who falls to pieces at every little event. You will be given an hour to gather your belongings. Anything left behind will be disposed of. The shadows points at your fallen appendage, including that. Now, do you have anything to say for yourself? Give him a few choice words. You start to say a few choice words, but all that comes from your mouth is growl, which seems to rise from the pit of your stomach. That's what I thought. It's a shame, really, but all of this could have been avoided if you just submitted. Submitted? Just remember, you brought this on yourself. You start to say one more thing when a beeping sound wakes you from your slumber. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Just as you're about to pass out, you remember that you can never stay awake thinking of Shakespeare. Thursday, 24th of July. You sigh relief. I'm sorry. You sigh with relief as you wipe the sweat from your brow. You glance down at your handiwork and have a large pile of weeds to show for your effort. Come this fall, there shouldn't be anything to choke out the flowers. You look towards the distance and notice a couple of people laughing and joking. You smile slightly as you seem to be completely taken with each other, unaware of anything else around them. All the much better to take them by surprise, don't you think? You grimace at the voice and a wave of hunger rushes through your body. Just think, you could take one for dinner and another for a midnight snack. Looks like you're about ready to pounce. Mind filling me in? You must have a sixth sense about this. Yeah, some part of me was on the hunt. How could you tell? Supernatural predators can usually sense one another. More often than not, this allows us to avoid each other. So, no midnight battles against vampires? Very rarely. Actually, you have more danger of having your rent increased if you fight a vampire than actually coming to blows. That's an interesting concept. Quite possible, really, because vampires are really old. They probably own half the estate. So, what brings you my way? Babysitting me to make sure I don't run amok? Heaven forbid the thought. Maybe I just wanted to get my belly rubbed. Would that be so wrong? I don't know, what's wrong with this bitch of people? Tyrone leans backwards a bit, pawing the air as if he was a kitten. Laughing, you lean in and start to tickle him until he falls to the ground laughing. Soon you're sitting on top of Tyrone, tickling him until he starts to wheeze and breathes. I give, you win. You bend down and give Tyrone a hand up. He rises, brushing this dirt off. I say, I've been wondering, when you change shape, what happens to the clothes? For that matter, does changing make you hungry? Well, first question first. If I'm wearing clothes, and assume they haven't been changed, then I'll be wearing a bunch of ribbons by the end of the day. Unless it has a rubber waistband, then it might cut off circulation. Ouch! That makes sense. The rubber would expand with your shape. That's why you would never catch me wearing a Speedo. As for your second question, it is possible. Yeah, changing shape burns a lot of calories. Oh, it makes you hungry. Right, sorry. Forgot the question. Yeah, makes you hungry. So some of the stories about people getting eaten might have been shapeshifters. Then again, humans are more than capable of harboring cannibals in their midst. I can't deny that's true. However, you're right that I did have a reason to find you. I wasn't getting anywhere on my own, but I did find someone who can help. Really? When can I meet them? Next year? Or this afternoon, if you wish. Let me go get cleaned up and we'll be on our way. We go to the bookstore. You make your way through the library, the silence a little eerie, though understandable since it's practically deserted in summer. After passing a couple of bookshelves, some with tomes you could swear whispered at you, you come upon a desk behind which sits a studious young woman. Oh. Catelyn, this is Zoe, my tutor in the mystical arts. Zoe, this is Catelyn, the person I was telling you about. All good things, I hope. That remains to be seen. You extend your hand and Zoe's fingers brush against it, and a rush of lightning rises up and through your body. In that moment, all the hunger and tiredness fades from you and you feel free. Then it crashes down and you return to what you now consider normal. What the hell just happened? Are you a witch? Please. As if I was something so boring. Still, I can't see why Tyrone wanted me to meet you. How many people have you killed? Killed? What makes you think I've killed anyone? It was the nature of your curse, you see. My curse? Then I guess Tyrone was right. Something is wrong with me. I'm more than a pretty face, you know. Yeah, your butt. I would appreciate it if you could if you held your flirtations until after I'm done. Sorry, I take it you didn't know you were cursed? Certainly not. I mean, things have been weird for a couple of months now, but... A couple of months? Well, this isn't a short-term curse. I think it's obvious you don't know who who cast it either. Other than someone who's mad at me, no. That makes things tough. Tough in what way? Well, if I tried to break your curse, things could go wrong. For one thing, it might speed up your transformation. Transformation? You're not becoming a shapeshifter, Catelyn. No. You wish. No, you're transitioning from living to, well, the dead, then undead. Undead? You mean a zombie? You're no vampire, I can promise you that. Tell me, have you felt unusual cravings, like for human flesh, or just spilled blood in general? Pretty much the whole thing. The curse is necromantic in nature, but unless I know the exact one, breaking it could accelerate it to its effects. So is there anything I can do? First, keep resisting for as long as you can. Goes without saying. Second, if you could figure out who did this to you, then I'm sure I could effect a cure. Also try to do that. How am I supposed to find this person? I don't know. Maybe ask door to door. Call every phone number in the city. I'm sorry. Did I just do something to piss you off? You glance at Tyrone and he shrugs his shoulders. Sorry, just being around sloppy spellcasting puts me on edge. Sloppy? Yeah, whoever cast this was a real amateur. Is there anything else you can do to help me? At this time, sorry, no. However, I'll search through some other tomes and see what I can come up with. With that, Zoe rises from the desk and walks to the back. The shadows envelop her as she leaves. Well, turning into a flesh-eating monster. Never expected to have put that on my resume. If nothing else, it will make you stand out. So we're going nude and shouting swears. Oh dear. Oh dear, sorry. You grow more somber in reflection and let out a gentle sigh. So I guess that leaves one thing for us to do. What's that? First, try to find the so-and-so who did this to me. I honestly have no clue who I could have angered enough to do this to me. Maybe it was an accident. Oh, no, it's not. In some ways, that would be even worse. That would imply the spell was meant for someone, and I just happened to be collateral damage. Enough of that. Let's get out of here. Sounds good to me. Do you want to go do something? Really? You're falling apart. You know, I haven't been into the student art gallery for a while. Let's go see if there are any new exhibits. I don't really know that much about art, but I know what I like. Dogs play poker? Ugh. As you're taking trash out to the dumpster, you felt a chill run down your spine as the side look caved in from a serious blow, while the metal cover had several gashes resembling claw marks on the top. Little of note happened today, except for the customer, who ordered a banana split instead and insisted that hot sauce be included as one of the toppings. Wow, I had 2! Whoa. You toss and turn, but you're having another night. I swear I had 2 choices. Well, I guess I chose the energy, so I'm not, like, you know, dead, but... You toss and turn, but you're having another night of unrestful sleep, and when you finally do wake up, it feels like you only got an hour or 2 of rest. You glance over at your clock and you do a double take. This time as much as you expected it would be, but the date is a few days farther ahead than you remember. You rub your eyes and take a second look, and the date remains the same. Take a deep breath, and you sit on the edge of the bed. First, I think I'm losing my mind. Now I'm literally losing days. Maybe I fell through a wormhole. That would be so much better. Sensing your distress, Nick approaches you and hesitates as he takes a deep sniff of the air. He seems a little bit uncertain and gingerly moves towards you. You reach out and scratch his ears. Nick responds by thumping his leg on the bed under your ministration. While you're getting dressed, you hear a feminine voice coming from downstairs, a voice you only heard recently on the phone. Catelyn, I'm home! Oh, God. You finish by pulling on your top and head on down. Hey, Mum, you're back early. Well, I was able to wrap things up before... Oh, honey. Yes. Mona moves over and places her hand on your forehead. She frowns as she notes how cool your skin feels to her touch. Are you feeling well? Are you feeling well? About as well as can be expected. I thought your dad was over-exaggerating about your condition, but I see he was telling the truth. Oh, what did he say? Mona gives a single shake of her head and a wave of her hand. It's not important. I'm just glad to see my baby again. Mona wraps her arms around you and gives an immense hug, actually lifting you off the ground for a few seconds before putting you back down. A little bird also told me you were seeing someone special. No, that was a thing with the phone. Let me guess, Dad blabbed. Oh
Although don't think so badly of your father, considering...
Considering?
Never mind. It was on the phone.
Pretty sure that particular scene wasn't actually hallucination. 80% of the other scenes were hallucinations, but not this one.
So is it true you're seeing Tyrone?
Yeah. Eek. For a brief moment you can't hear anything as your mother gives a squeal of delight. I take it you approve? Oh, it's raining outside if you...
He's going to make the team to the He's going to take the team...
Alliteration, not my strong point.
He's going to take the team to the championships, you know. We must have him over for dinner. Maybe an arm or leg. Maybe he will sign a jersey or two.
Mum, can you wait before ambushing my boyfriend?
Oh, very well. Just remember, I could be showing you baby photos.
Something wrong?
No, I just realized how much you've changed over the last few years. You're a grown woman.
Jeez, Mum, now you're embarrassing me.
It's even harder considering this is the last birthday we'll share.
Oh, we'll be here next year.
Oh, I know you will, but by then you'll be dead.
You freeze in your place as Mona puts a comforting hand on your cheek.
It just wouldn't be right to celebrate a birthday when you're dead, don't you think? Birthdays are for the living.
Mum, what are you saying?
But don't worry, honey. We can make a new day. Maybe we can celebrate your death day. In fact, I got you a couple of things already.
Oh, God, help me. Mona goes into the kitchen and then comes out holding two items. One is a brightly coloured box in blue wrapping paper with a giant red bow. The other is a small plate covered with a small metallic dome. God.
Here you go, honey. Have another nightmare. And remember, no matter what happens, your mother will always love you.
I don't want... No! You look at your mother's hands, and that's when you notice a small pool of liquid at her feet. It is dripping from the plate, and you can tell that it's blood. This stirs a hunger in your belly, and you find yourself looking at your mother in a new, famished light.
What's wrong, honey?
You start edging backward, trying to keep your distance. Mum, I need to wake the heck up. Mona frowns and sets the present and the plate down.
I was afraid of that. You prefer something more fresh.
She rolls up a sleeve, exposing a length of arm.
Here you go, honey.
Oh, God, help me. Yeah, beep, 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 all right. Your eyes are open and you're never so glad to go through the beeping of an alarm clock. Your eyes open, you're never so glad to hear and waken to the beeping of an alarm clock. You take a quick look at the clock and you fall back down with a relieved sigh that today is actually the expected date. Oh, crikey.
Oh, dear me.
That's pretty, The stress is rubbish. You and Tyrone spend about an hour in the water, enjoying the rise and fall of the waves. Suddenly Tyrone shouts for help, saying something was trying to pull him under. You quickly swam to his side, and as he bobbed under the water, you grabbed him and dragged him to the shore. What? From the corner of your eye, you could swear you saw a humanoid shape with a tail, but thought it might be a trick of the light.
Huh?
Well, what's my energy like? What's my stress like? Stress is bad. Is there any way to boost that? No. Stress is really bad. Stress is pretty bad. Let's just go with 72? Stress is really bad. Oh, fine. Whatever. When wiping down a table, you couldn't help but notice a customer left shards of what proved to be bone behind. Oh. Okay. I missed the save. You felt a general tiredness in your bones. Right now, resting would be welcome, but you can't help but wondering if you're the figment of someone's dream, dreaming about being a figment of someone's dream, dreaming about. You wonder if you should get up or not. Then you notice Nick sleeping by your side, head resting on your leg. He looks so peaceful it would be a shame to disturb him. Then your dog yawns, and you yawn in return, eyes drooping when darkness closes in. Thursday, 31st of July. More and more you'll find yourself wandering through the park with your free time, and today is no exception. However, instead of sitting on a bench and perhaps feeding the birds, you are in the mood for another stroll. One thing you can't avoid is how people shy away when they notice your approach. You don't know whether to be amused or irritated by the small handful who make the sign of the cross before they leave your presence. God help me. Then you hear some voices, one of which is vaguely familiar, from behind a thicket of tall bushes. Normally you wouldn't be able to make out what they're saying, but your senses have been more acute lately. How much longer do we have to wait out here? I told you, Mark, it's not today, it's then tomorrow. From your previous altercation you recognized Rocco's voice, so the first one must be the man named Mark. Fine, but after we do this, we're even, you hear? I don't owe you any more favors. Loud and clear. Now be quiet, I think I see them. Them? Rocco grows quiet, and a quick glance through the bushes reveals he has another man by his side. Both are definitely looking in your direction. Wait, you have a problem? It's with a woman? Yes. Is that going to be an issue? Look, I've done a lot of things. I don't hurt women. Trust me, she's much tougher than she looks. You can always back out now. If you don't be surprised if the police get a little bit of information. I'm so gonna beat you up, Rocco. Fine, let's get it over with. The bushes rustle, and soon two men standing before you. The voices you recognize as Rocco, the man you encountered in the park before. The other man is completely unknown to you and rather not hit you. Hello, what brings you out on such a glorious day? Mark glowers over in Rocco's direction, your greeting obviously putting him in a slight disadvantage. Don't be fooled. I swear, she is as vicious as they come. Rocco, this just isn't right. Look, I really don't know who you are, but I have no quarrel with you. Is this something you really want to do? Mark seems to be wavering, and then Rocco steps beside him and whispers in a voice that you can still hear. The police, remember? So, it is to be an ambush. I haven't done anything to you. You embarrassed me in front of my girl. That's what this is about? Your pride? You damn near broke my ribs. That demands a little payback. This, little lady, are you sure? For the last time, my ribs are still cracked. I guess I don't know my own strength. Both men start to circle around you, and from their coordination is evident they've worked together before. Mark has his fist ball up, and you see Rocco reach into a pocket and pull out a knife. Rocco, what are you doing? You can't take any... Ah! Before Rocco could finish his sentence, he moved with a speed greater than you felt before and brought the man down. Within seconds, he is lying on the ground, unconscious. You take the opportunity to kick the knife into the bushes. However, you were still left with Mark. Look, I don't have any beef with you. Let me go and let's call it a day. Let Mark go. I'm feeling nice this morning. If you don't cause any more problems, you can go. You're a little surprised when Mark gives a slight bow. Thanks, Mum. Mark gives one glance at Rocco, shakes his head and disappears into the brush. With Rocco laid out on the ground, you decide it's time to move along. Not that you were scared of another ambush, but rather of yourself. While Rocco was unmoving, there was a part of you that wanted to bend down and tear his throat out. You can almost imagine how yummy his flesh would taste. You shake your head, try to put this thought out of your mind and finish the walk. You are debating what, if anything, to do this afternoon when you hear a knock at the door. Almost immediately, Nick comes running down the stairs and starts to scratch furiously at the door. Shoo, get away from there. I just took you on your walk. Glance through the peephole and see Tyrone standing outside. Surprise, surprise. A calm look on his face. You open the door and in that moment Nick darts between your legs and leaps into Tyrone's arms. Come, save me from this woman. She's turning into a zombie. Yeah. Well, hello there. Traitor. The only reason why I'm dating him is because the dog likes him. True story. So what brings you by Tyrone? Though. There's supposed to be a comma there. I mean, I know I have troubles reading, but punctuation could help in places. So what brings you by, Tyrone? Got any more news? Unfortunately, no. Zoe is making progress, but nothing to get your hopes up yet. Rather, I wanted to see if you wanted to go out for dinner and a movie. Oh, freshly skinned person. Go for it. What? I'm not very hungry, but a movie sounds good. Ruff? Sorry, you can't go, boy. No. No, I'm not going to sneak you in under my coat. I'm standing outside the theatre, looking at the various movie posters of what is currently showing. Tyrone remains behind, letting you look to your heart's content. What to watch? Is there anything in particular you wanted to see? Nope. I've been rather busy lately. Not just practice, but helping Zoe as much as I can, so I don't really know what is playing. Or like 1 week. Okay, would a better question be, is there anything in particular you don't want to watch? Anything with the actor Roger Stewart. You speak with his name with such venom. Why so much hate? It's ancient history with an ex-girlfriend. Really? Okay. Oh, spill the beans. Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, fine. About 1.5 years ago, I was dating someone and things were getting serious. Just a pause here. You don't go to the cinema at a random time hoping to catch any movie. You decide which movie to watch, check the times, then go and arrive at the cinema within time to catch that movie. At least that's how it's done in Australia. It's not how it's done in this game. Procedurally generation denied. Oh fine, about 1/2 year ago I was dating someone and things were getting serious. Obviously it didn't last. No, my ex at the time went to a fortune teller who told her that she was going to be eventually marry Roger Stewart, of all people. Needless to say, she broke up with me shortly thereafter. Weird! Girl is weird. I can't say if I ever broke up based on what a fortune teller said. Hopefully your ex apologized when she remained single. That's the bizarrest part of the story. My ex must have found the one real fortune teller in the city because she actually ran into Roger when he was doing a movie promotion. And as far as I know, both are still dating.
What was the name of this fortune teller?
No, even if it was just a fluke, I'm not going to risk a second better relationship.
Ah, you think I'm better, even with all of this?
Your hands twist above your head and move down to a waist with a flourish. English, what is this? Your hands twist above your head and move down to a waist without a flourish. You try to do a sexy pose. There's no comparison. Even at your worst, you're still better than she was at her best. Flatterer. So have you decided what movie to catch? At this time, okay, no, you don't want to do that. This time, still not going to help you really, so let's go with this one here. I'm in the mood for some mindless violence. Let's go watch Kunoichi, the one about the sexy ninja assassin. Everybody loves the sexy ninja assassin. Doesn't it star the actress Mihoshi Nishida? She puts the ass in a assassin. I'm not the type to get jealous over a movie. Of course, I expect the same courtesy if I look at someone as well. If I look at someone as well. Alright, you get the tickets. I'll get the refreshments. And you just got tickets. Good. So it's really nice that they can go to a movie and just like go, they're so cute. And either of them won't get jealous at the other one for just making random, oh, that's so cute comments. That's so sweet. Duh. Alright, you get the tickets, I'll get the refreshments. Do you want anything? A medium popcorn and soft drink. And soft drink. She don't want a hard drink. I'll be back in a second. Whoa, hello, new set. Really cranking them out now. Jeez. You and Tyrone make your way roughly into the center of the theater. Yeah, it might be better to be in the seats section of the center of the theater. The room is practically empty as both of you take your seat. I swear, refreshment prices increase every time I come. Yeah, it's as much as a small meal. Oh, here, I can pay you for my stuff. Nah, I'm good. It was just a little unexpected was all. The two of you lean back and watch as a small number of commercials run before getting to the actual movie trailers. You make small talk when you're interrupted by a piece of popcorn tossed your way. At first you think this might be some kind of accident when a second piece hits. Really? You're kidding me. At that moment, a piece of popcorn bounces, oh my god, bounces off Tyrone's face. He glances backward, an annoyed look on his face. Hey man, this isn't cool. Would you please stop it already? You're answered by silence, and Tyrone sits back down. A few more minutes pass before another couple of pieces of popcorn inevitably bounce off the two of you. Someone's really asking for it. If you have a problem with my actions, then pray tell, do something about it. You feel your own anger rise up, and while the theater is dark, you find that your vision isn't impeded by the darkness. Maybe I shall. This is a degenerate age we live in, when the lady must defend the honor... Oh. It's a degenerate age we live in, when the lady must defend the honor of her male companion. Why you... Hello? The two of you stand and make your way to the source of your annoyance, but when you two You practically freeze, sitting in the dark as someone you recognize that you met only briefly a few months earlier. Sensing your hesitation, Tyrone lays a reassuring hand on your shoulder. Something wrong? I've met this person before. There is something wrong with him. Bravo! I must admit I'm pleased that you remember me, and of course I remember you. Damien gives a slight bow, then rises up, without even a wrinkle in his clothing. Holographic clothing! I must say you are looking almost as enchanting as ever, my dear. For a while I thought I must have cursed the wrong person, since it was taking so long, but I see you resisted it. Futile as it is. Congratulations are in order. You did this to me. Come now, I don't think you aren't hard of hearing. I know you aren't hard of hearing. Yes, it was I, and you may call me Damien. Why? What did... Before you can ask your question, you hear a deep-throated growl emanate from Tyrone, and you see he's in full werelion mode. That is pretty hunky. His eyes are focused on Damien. Oh dear, did I upset your little pussycat? I would suggest you get him under control, or... Oh, what? Tyrone's muscles bunch and he leaps forward. Jeez, let Tyrone attack. Jeez. Tyrone leaps forward, pieces of plastic and cushion flying in the air. As he nears Damien, the stranger shakes his head and seemingly dissolves before your eyes, and Tyrone hits the back wall with a solid thud. Ow! Oh. He shakes his head, shrinking back down to human form, though practically naked now, because that's how that works. What happened to him? Illusion. It's a damn illusion. What was the point of that? To taunt? Maybe, but he made one mistake. What do you mean? I have his scent now, not just from the curse. Given time, I can track him down. Then you mean we can find him? Eventually, yes. I'll need to talk to Zoe first, but we have him. Good. I would love to wipe that smile off his face. Today you were extra cautious as there was a memo stating it would be inadvisable to touch the lawn gnomes, as the university wouldn't be liable for any injuries from them. Oh, black. You start to awaken, though you're still a little groggy as you're... Copy? You start to awaken, though you're still a little groggy, as your body clings to the last vestiges of sleep. You start to stand when... Thump. Almost instantly you lay back down with an immense pain in your head. You couldn't go more than a foot before discovering a barrier to your rising. Oh, great. You're in a coffin. That's when you realize you're in a very confined space. You try to move from one side to another, but fine, there is maybe 6 inches of emptiness before you hit another impediment. The other thing you notice is just how dark it is. Even though your vision is in the dark actually improved, it still required some ambient light, and where you're at, there is nothing. Hesitantly, you find there is at least enough room to reach into your pocket and pull out your cell phone. What? Oh, hey, dreams. You fumble around in the dark for a few more minutes until you manage to turn it on. Why would someone bury you with your cell phone? Would you get reception down there? The light confirms your suspicion, as you are in an enclosed metal box. A metal box? God. That's not good. A metal box, a coffin. Really? Yell for help. Try to lift your lid. Pound the lid.
Well, if you're saying you're already buried, that's not going to work. If you're already buried, that's not going to work. If you're already buried, that's not going to work. Lift the lid. You'll find that lacking the room to stand, you can only lay back down. You extend your hands upward and push with all your might. You manage to get the lid a fraction of an inch, but find you can't move it any further. Slump back down and stare listlessly at the ceiling with one thought clear in your mind. They buried me alive! You try to think back to the previous night, but other than getting ready for bed, nothing else comes to mind. Then another part of your mind casts some doubt on this. What if I really am dead? Why am I still moving? Why is the box made of metal? However, like memories, no answers are forthcoming either. Then you remember your cell phone. You look at the screen to try and place a call, but find your entire account has been closed. That doesn't... After all, if I'm dead, then what need would I have for a phone? Don't know how long you can stay quiet, your mind racing through the options at your disposal. Warily, you don't see any way out of your dilemma other than watching the battery life of your phone slowly go to zero. Oh, no. It'd be nice to say, unknown voice, male. Male? Male. You look around to see where that voice came from, but there is obviously no one to be seen. Okay, I'm definitely cracking up. No, you can't be free. Really? Oh yes, all you have to do is let go. Oh, God, help me. Let go. Let go of your control. You can get out, but you have to let go. This will let you take a few more minutes to think. This will really help me free? Yes, you may not like the results, but if you free me, then I'll free you. Sod that. I don't get an option? Man. Suddenly you feel an immense rush of anger coursing through your body, and you let loose a primal growl. Then you start hammering the lid of your coffin with both fists. At first you don't seem to be making headway, but soon dents start to appear. Despite the power of your strikes, you don't seem to feel any pain. There we go, just a few more hits. That didn't sound like metal. Did it sound like metal to you? There's a loud clatter as the lid finally breaks. The metal lid. Then you let out a gagging feeling as dirt suddenly falls upon you. For a few moments it feels like you're going to drown in a soiled heap, but you manage to close your mouth before anything else enters it. Great. Trapped in a coffin, but got out. Now I'm trapped in a rush of dirt. At least it's soft dirt. No, now is the easy part. And I'm gonna run out of air. Who said you need air? Sure, if you wish to talk, but otherwise, why bother? While you mull on this, you somehow find yourself rising upwards, your hands and arms somehow managing to gain purchase in the dirt. After what seems to be like an hour's worth of digging, you find no more resistance, and your hand breaks the surface of the ground. Oh my goodness! There's already... The battery of the phone hasn't even died yet. And she's already got a cracked tombstone. I hate nightmares. Somehow, not, you know, not when they're waking nightmares. Like, you know, a nightmare, you know, where the aliens attacked and everybody ran underground and all of that kind of stuff. You know, it's like going, yeah, that's fine. But these waking nightmares, I really, they're pretty horrific.
Somehow you manage to wiggle your way out, and when you do, you are face to face with a tombstone. Just in case you're curious, it was a lovely funeral. Tyrone, wait! What is this about a funeral? Your funeral, after all, you had died. But I'm not dead! No, I can assure you that you're quite dead. I can smell your rot from here. Only the dead can smell that way. You raise one arm and take a tentative whiff and shake your head. I don't smell anything. You wouldn't. You'd be used to it. Don't worry. Oh, I'll free you from your curse. You see Tyrone's body enlarge, fur erupting from every inch of his skin, and you find yourself facing a rather sad were-lion. He bounds forward, one massive claw aimed directly at your head. Your eyes open and you find yourself on your bed once more. You sigh and look up toward the ceiling and wonder when these nightmares will end. Death. Little of note happened today except for the customer who ordered a banana split and insisted that hot sauce be included as one of the toppings. Saturday, the 2nd of August. You stir from your slumber, and for once it has proved to be the most restful slumber you've had in a long time. Oh God. Glancing at the clock. Catelyn, are you in here? Glancing at the clock, you see that it reads 5 a.m. You glance out the window and see it's still dark, though off in the distance the faintest rays of sunlight paint the sky for the coming dawn. However, everything being shrouded in darkness, you can't remember your vision being more acute than before. You turn over and cover your head to try to go back to sleep, but find that sleep will elude you this morning. As such, you get up and make your way to the mirror, and what you see there takes you by surprise. Yep. First thing you notice is the colour of your skin. It reminds you of a corpse, the white pallor standing out in stark contrast with the black splotches, which have also grown on your skin. Touch one of these black patches and find it gives off a faint aroma, one which puts you in mind of rot. However, appearances can be deceiving, for you've never felt more powerful in your whole life than you do now. You bend down and insert the fingers on your left hand under the dresser, and find you're still able to lift it one-handed. What? You let it go, and the dresser hits the ground with a thud, and you go back to examining your appearances. One other thing you find a bit disturbing is that your eyes have gone entirely milky white, sheen which obscures the colour of your iris. You also find yourself in a more pronounced haunch, and that you walk with a more pronounced shuffle. Two of your other senses have grown stronger as well. First is your hearing. You can hear your dog downstairs getting a drink of water, its lapping tongue hitting the liquid with a repetitive slurp. The other strengthened sense is your smell. You find yourself able to isolate several odours, almost like separate threads. That one is the dog, that one is the laundry, and boy, does someone need to do the washing, and that one is Sabrina. At the mere thought of another person, your stomach gives you a loud gurgle, and a twinge of hunger shoots through you. Lost as you are in your own thoughts, you do hear the patter of a couple of feet behind you. I heard a loud thud. Good God, what happened to you? Your stepfather is standing in the hallway, a look of complete shock filling his face. Good morning, Dad. Joshua timidly walks in and puts a hand under your chin, examining your face. He spends several minutes staring into your eyes. The eyes of the... What was that? Sorry, just remembering an old saying. The eyes are the windows of the soul. And my eyes shrouded over. I really shouldn't have said that. I was worried about you before, but this... How long has it been going on, you dipstick? 9 or 10 weeks. We need to get you to a doctor. I've already seen a doctor, I told you. According to them, there's nothing wrong. Guesswork in a lab coat. Well, they would have to take you seriously now. Just look at you. A wave of emotion swells through you, and for a moment you feel like putting a hole in your wall. Really? Would you quickly tamp that down, because that's nuts? No. No? They could just at least give you some help. All that would happen is that I would end up in a specimen jar. If not them, maybe someone at the university or the government. It would be the same result, maybe worse. Do you even know what's going on or how this came about? I'm sorry, but I don't want you to getting involved. Joshua's hands clench in anger, and his face darkens. How can you say that? No one messes with my family and lives. Tell him he needs to be there for others. You can't do that. If something happens to me, well, you need to be there for the others. But there's no buts about it. Well, now I'll be shuffling on my way. Are you sure you want to go out like that? I mean, what if someone questions your appearance? Then I tell them I'm working as an extra for a scary movie. Jeez. It's the weekend. Choose what you want to do today. Stress minus 20. Considering your appearance, we're all dead. Oh god, that didn't even bring my energy anywhere up. Wow. We're so dead. Why didn't anybody tell me how to play this game? Always doing it wrong. 74. We just can't get that back. 74. As far as 20, well, I don't think we're gonna live another 2 more weeks, that's for sure. Continues to play a game. Play other game. $70 sounds good. Let's do with that. Oh, stress 24. I thought I knocked that down. Little of note happened today. Except for that strange customer again who likes hot sauce on a banana. Tuesday, the 5th of August. As of late, you find yourself stopping in the park more often than not. You often find tranquility in the surroundings. On this particular day, you close your eyes and enjoy the warmth of the sun. For a moment, all time seems to stop, until it is interrupted by what feels like a sharp point in your side. What is this? You open your eyes and find a young blonde girl holding a stick as she's giving you a tentative poke. I would ask you not to do that, if you don't mind. Ah! The girl drops that stick and races behind a nearby trash can. A minute passes before she takes a slight peek. Why were you poking me with that stick? The girl steps forward, fascinated by your appearances. She picks up the stick, but only holds it this time. I wasn't sure whether you were dead or not. Well, as you can see, I'm very much alive. What made you think I was dead? Several things. First is you stink. You should really have a bath. My smell. Well, we had a raccoon which crawled under the house last summer and died. You sort of smell like that. You briefly raise your arm to your nose, take a sniff, but you don't smell anything. However, just to be on the safe side, you make a mental note that you should probably invest in a stronger perfume.
You don't look very good. What's wrong with your skin?
For a moment you're unsure how to answer the little girl, but decide some part of the truth would be the best choice.
I'm suffering from a rare allergy. Then I won't get something from you?
No, not even cooties, I promise. It's a curse. It's specifically directed at me. You're fine. The girl comes closer, takes a seat near you on the bench. She swings her legs back and forth, and she continues to look at you.
My name's Elaine.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Caitlin.
What's wrong with your eyes? Can I see? Can you see?
That's also part of my allergy.
Does it hurt?
Take a moment to consider her question. It's been a long time since you felt any long-lasting pain.
No. It's like a superpower then? Just imagine not getting hurt.
Not quite. I can still bleed. I just don't really notice it. Have you ever slipped and skinned your knee?
Yes.
Now imagine it happening, but you can't feel it. Well, it might seem good at first, but if you don't know if you're hurt or not, then you can't make it better.
Oh.
You spend a couple more minutes as the girl seems deep in thought. For a moment there's another flash of hunger, but you easily suppress it.
I hope you get better soon.
So do I.
Elaine, what have I told you about talking to strangers? Sorry, Mum.
A young woman walks towards you, and there seems to be something familiar about her, and that's when you realize it's a doctor you saw before.
I apologize if my daughter...
Jade stops as she seems to notice your condition for the first time, and she does a double take as she asks,
Are you Caitlin? What was that? Was that it?
Nice to see you again, Doctor. Jade steps toward you and she scans your body with the same intensity that her daughter did earlier.
This isn't right.
Oh, now you believe me. 1 month ago you didn't think there was anything wrong.
That's not what I said. I said we didn't discover anything, but we could keep looking. You said something about your dreams, if I remember right. Is this still going on?
You think back to all the nightmares you've endured, and since since endured before, and since you've visited the doctor. No, worse than before.
But that doesn't mean it's improved.
No! No, it doesn't, Jade.
What sort of dreams are they?
Elaine tugs on her mother's sleeve.
I think she dreams of death.
Your daughter is rather perceptive. Look, can you two leave me alone?
Fine, but I still think you should come back in.
Why? Jade turns around, her hands on her daughter's shoulders, and the two start to walk away. Then the little girl stops and bolts back to you.
Can I be your friend?
My friend?
Everyone can use some friends.
Sure thing, sweetheart.
Thanks. I promise when you die, then I'll put flowers on your grave.
Wow. Look at her eyes. Oh my gosh. Your face freezes at the little girl's words and feel a chill rush down your spine.
Why would you say that? It's true, and one shouldn't tell lies, should they?
Elaine frowns and sees her mother coming back.
I better go before my mum gets mad. It was nice to meet you. Bye.
That was a dressy dress that kid was in. You wonder if you should get up or not. Then you notice Nick sleeping by your side, head resting on your leg. Looks so peaceful. It would be a shame to disturb him. Then your dog yawns and you yawn in return, eyes drooping when darkness closes in. Your eyelids feel very heavy. You blink several times, but the energy just drives you further into drowsiness. Blackness descends as you decide to rest up before exercising your eyes again. Thursday, the 7th of August. You stir slightly in your bed, and unlike the last few weeks, you actually feel well rested. You glance over at the clock. 6 a.m. It's another reason you feel at peace. The hunger in your belly is actually sated. Eh? If anything, you feel a little lethargic from just how full you are. What have you eaten, Catelyn? I did not tell you to eat. So you proceed to get dressed while in this blissful haze you notice something. The smell of spilled blood. An unconscious part of your mind tells you that it couldn't be over 4 or 5 hours old and that it's human. You glance over at your door and you see that it is lying half-broken, torn at the hinges. A closer look reveals several indentations and cracks, some of which fit the size of your hand. Hesitantly, you then look at your hands. You notice several dark colours under the tips of your fingernails. You raise a finger to your lips and take a tentative taste of it. To your relief, it isn't blood, so the smell must be coming from somewhere else. You stick your head out the door and it looks like someone ransacked the other bedrooms, their doors smashed as well. Oh God. You go into your stepsister's bedroom. It looks like a mess, but thankfully there's no blood here. However, you see a large plastic container slightly askew from underneath Sabrina's bed. You hesitantly pull it out and see a scabbard in it. Just from the looks of it, it appears Sabrina tried to pull out a sword of some kind, but was unable to succeed. Huh? You go into your parents' bedroom and you see spatters of blood on the bed, and on the wall there's an appreciative gurgle rising up from your from your stomach at the scent. When you look at the ground, you see some footprints in the blood, and it looks like they raced to the door and outside. Okay, check the bathroom. The smell of blood is strong even before you enter the bathroom, and you soon realize why. Lying near the tub, as if she was taking a final stand, is Sabrina. Given your current state, you know she isn't breathing. That's when you notice what happened to be several bites up and down her body, as if someone was nibbling on her. Hang on, what? She isn't breathing. Alright. So, Sabrina's dead. You slowly make your way downstairs, and the smell of death becomes even stronger. From the corner of your eye, you see an overweight figure lying on the ground near the door. It takes a few more seconds before you realize it's your stepfather. He tried to flee, but was unable to escape. That's when you hear a faint whimper in the room. You quickly pinpoint the source as coming from behind the couch. You kneel and you can see your dog is still alive, cowering there. Nick, come here, boy, come here. Nick inches forward and stops. He takes a sniff of the air and gives a plaintive whine. It's all right, boy, I won't hurt you. Nick takes a few minutes and moves right next to you. He gives a tentative lick of your hand. You go to pick him up, but stop when you see him shivering. Nick is willing to come close, but doesn't want to be touched. That's when you hear a noise coming from the kitchen, and then a voice speaks. One that you know. Nick, come to me. I have some yummy treats for you. What? Emerging from the kitchen is your fraternal twin. He's holding up a small bag of dog treats, shaking it to garner Nick's attention. Nick, however, dashes back to behind the sofa and gives a threatening growl. Oh, Brandon, what happened to you? You did this to me. No way, that's impossible. As impossible as what we are now? No, you're responsible. How could that be? We're fraternal twins. We share a spiritual bond. What affects one affects the other. And you know what? I'm rather pissed at you. I'm sorry, I didn't know this had happened to you. What are you talking about? You swipe your hand from your head down to about your waist. This. Oh, I'm already over that. No, I was talking about how you hogged all the food. Food?
Dad, Sabrina, just have one bite for me. I mean, would it have killed you? Show a little restraint? No use crying over spilt milk. In fact, I could use your help. Help you? Brandon points to the back of the couch and you hear a loud grumble coming from his stomach. It's a little light, but it will do. No, you can't eat. Then what would you have me do? Oh, let Nick escape. You decide to play along with your sibling, at least for now. Alright, what do you want to do? You get on that end of the couch and I'll start here. We'll meet in the middle. Get at one end and help Brandon move the couch. Then, before anything else can happen, give a high-pitched whistle and Nick races to the pet door. You really should have done that. Why? There's only one other piece of meat left. Faster than you expect, you see your brother fling himself at you, jaws open wide. Pretty heavy. You close your eyes, expecting to feel the teeth bite deep into your throat. Instead, you feel a wet tongue slide along your cheek. You open your eyes to see your dog on your bed, momentarily overcoming his aversion to your state and waking you from your slumber. Excuse me. What? No, it's gone black again. Thursday, the 7th of August. It's been 1 week since you met Damien at the movie theatre. In that time, you've noticed another change sweep through your body, one which causes the black blotches to grow larger and make your flesh that much paler. However, despite the appearance of your flesh, you feel strength and energy suffusing your body. Oh, there's that word again. Especially when you tap into your anger. Your rage, your hunger is power. Don't be afraid to use it. You hang back at the edge of the park, your eyes once more looking on people who don't seem to notice you. Almost on an instinctual level, you realize you can tell when someone is sick and totally healthy. If you fixate too long on any one person, small details quickly filter into your awareness, such as how to take someone by surprise, or the best way to cripple them. You have an intense look on your face. I guess that's one polite way to say it. One polite to say it. You don't have to sugarcoat things. I know I look pretty bad. That's not what I meant, though. I won't deny you probably had better days. No, you look rather focused, as I might look at a deer when I'm in a lion form. I'm ignoring a voice. Let's just say that I'm trying to ignore a voice, for lack of a better term. It's pushing me to hunt. And I gather that wasn't a voice you heard earlier. Not since I started to notice these changes. Now that I know I'm cursed, I imagine that's part of it. Yeah, though, I'm not really that up to date on curses. For all I know, you might have picked up a puka sidekick as well. A puka? What is that? Some kind of teddy bear? They shape changes. Fond of messing with your mind. For some reason, a lot of them like to appear as 6-foot-tall rabbits. Nice. On the phone, you said you had good news. What was that? Well, between our little run-in last week and with the advancement of your condition, we can track down the one who did this to you. Seriously? Not that I'm complaining, but why couldn't it be done sooner? Well, Zoe said that a cure wouldn't be effective until the end stage. Oh, no, Zoe, no! Bad Zoe! And it didn't make sense to tip our hand. End stage. Then it's obvious that I wouldn't have much longer, unless this works.
You know, I don't really like to cut things this close. You've enjoyed it better than I would have. However, all the talk of mystic resonances and what have you went over... However, all the talk of mystic resonances and what have you went over my head. Find me something to smash and I'm one happy kitty. Fair enough, too. Speaking of finding, let's not wait a second longer. You can't explain what else Zoe said as we go. Oh, hello.
It's the scene from the menu.
You find yourself in the living room of a well-appointed Victorian home. While you were very careful in your approach to the house, nothing impeded your progress and you found the door unlocked. Is anyone home? Silence is the only answer Tyrone gets. You close your eyes and empty your senses, and in that space of quiet you hear a faint heartbeat coming from above you. There's someone here, but they're upstairs. From behind you there is a sound of a small clap, and Damien emerges from the shadows. Well done, my girl. Well done indeed. My magics were able to obscure the senses of your kitty, but not your own. Then again, you can't take all the credit if I forgot to shield against you. You again. Just what in the hell do I do? What did I do to you to deserve this? Surely you can't be upset over a drink. What is it with the young and thinking they are the centre of the world? No, to be fair, he did this to her. Okay, I think she's entitled to ask why you did this thing to me, or you're not the centre of the world. So I just got to close my mouth from just staring agape at this guy. No, my dear, your actions only confirmed my first choice of target. No, this is about vengeance, pure and simple for the one who snubbed me. Your mother. What? Snubbed? He has been snubbed? My mother? Funny, she never mentioned a midnight horror host reject. Why, You grow silent as your mouth is clamped shut by an invisible force. You try to speak, but it's too much to break free. The relief of silence. Tell me, young man, was their voice as grating on your feline ears as mine? I found it quite pleasant, all things considered. Now, if you don't want to see your guts spilled before you, I'd recommend removing your smell from my girlfriend. Always with the demands. Still, I will overlook your rudeness this once. Now, if you wish to live, I would recommend you leave right now. Then this is going to end only in one way. Tyrone's shape starts to bend and twist, and within moments the snarling were-lion is standing in the middle of the room. Oh dear, and I just had the carpet shampooed. Growl. Tyrone leaps at Damien and passes through him, his form proving to be nothing more than a simple illusion. The were-lion crashes into the wall with a loud crack. Then the lights go dim, and shadows slowly gather in the middle of the room before coalescing into a shadowy monster. Ugh! Ugh, apparently. Tyrone lets out a cat-like scream of intense pain as his shadow creature, focused on the were-lion, its back to me. Dark tendrils surround Tyrone, clasping tightly onto his arms and legs. The sound and fury of the fight causes your own heart to skip a beat, and you can almost taste blood in the air. Focus on Damien. You glance once more at Damien, immediately you can tell there's something wrong. Though he appears solid, his lungs don't rise and fall, nor can you feel a pulse. Then a few moments later, your senses hone in once more on the heartbeat of a human, one currently wreathed in shadows just a couple feet away. Damien appears smug, gloating as the beast continues to lay into Tyrone. However, just because he quieted you, your arms and legs are still under your control and you have a moment to end things. Not wanting to give your position away, you stifle the urge to howl and rush with a speed which still sometimes surprises you, and swing your fists. Damien lets out a loud shriek, then falls to the ground with the back of his head caved in. How did that work? Okay, whatever. Damien's death, the shadow beast starts to evaporate, looking around in surprise. Free! Finally free! Looks at you, and with sympathy on its face it shakes its head and then disappears. Rush over to Tyrone, but find he is kneeling and slowly catching his breath. The wounds he's suffered in the fight are slowly starting to close. You saved me, thank you. Yeah, but at the cost of my own life. He's dead. There is still a way. Let me first get my breath. I'll be in touch when Zoe is ready. You're in a cleaning uniform today when you notice red on some of them. While an athlete getting cut and bleeding isn't unknown, these spots were still a bit wet to the touch. When wiping down the table, you couldn't help notice a customer left shards of what proved to be bone behind. Oh, there goes Sunday. For reasons you can't quite fathom, you find yourself walking in the cemetery. Passing tombstone after tombstone, you briefly imagine what story each would tell if it could, and wonder whether your tale might be one of the thousands lost in the seas of time. Yeah. You seem rather troubled, my child. Perhaps you'd like to talk about it. You turn around to see a young nun. What the heck? Is a nun standing amongst the tombstones. She doesn't seem to mind the current state of your appearance, though her smile does seem to be a little bit forced now. I apologize for interrupting. You just seem like you could use someone to talk to, but I can move along if you prefer. You can stay if you wish. Thank you. You slowly move down one row of tombstones and it briefly puts you in mind of dominoes. Yeah, they definitely put you in mind of dominoes. In that moment, you wonder if you push one down, if the others will fall in response. No, because they're too far apart. I wouldn't recommend doing that if I were you. A, because it doesn't work. You glance at the nun and give a slight smile. I wasn't intending to. Besides, how could you tell what I was thinking? No mind reading involved. I saw your slight smirk and it reminded me of a student just right before they would put a thumbtack on a teacher's chair. So you aren't bothered by how I look? Well, I can't say that I've seen many people in your condition, but I've also seen people in worse shape. You look down at the black splotches on your arm and think of the white film covering your eyes. Worse than me? It's hard to imagine. Not many, but I have. You purse your lips and take a deep breath. What would you say if I was cursed? The nun takes a glance in your direction and gives a slight nod of her head. Without knowing your particular circumstances, I couldn't give you a definitive answer. Who are you to say definitive? However, I could believe it happened. To believe in a higher power is to believe in the existence of the supernatural, and with a light, there is dark. I wish the doctor had your belief when I first went in. It is a lot to ask someone to accept. The problem is, when confronted by something outside they may ignore it. You sound like you've seen a few things yourself. I've had my share of experiences. I have to say, though, you're the first of your kind that I talked to. My kind? Indeed, though I must say I'm enjoying the conversation. If you don't mind my asking, which grave is yours?
My grave? Well, so I could pay my respects, of course.
I don't have a grave. Why would you think that?
Oh, I apologize for my presumption. Normally the ones which arise have to be laid to rest. They act like mindless, starved beasts.
How many have you seen like me?
Oh, 4 or 5. It's very rare we get more than one a year, though. I've heard other places have a lot more.
Do you think there's something you could do for my condition?
Unfortunately, short of prayer, I am afraid I haven't heard of a cure.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I guess it's hopeless.
I didn't say that. Just because I haven't heard of a cure, that doesn't mean there isn't one. Any condition can be reversed.
So what would you suggest I do?
Every curse has an origin from somewhere. Maybe someone could help you figure it out. A loved one tuned into things. Then again, sometimes you have to do it alone.
Well, it gives me something to think about at least. You wait for the nun to say something, but there's silence for a few seconds. You look to your side and you see there was a completely pointless conversation. You look to your right and see your headstone. Sister Ellen Chambers. The words are deeply faded and mostly gone, but you can make out sister and a burial date 1923. Well, that makes more sense than the conversation I just had. For stress, need money. Let's knock down that stress to something more doable. It's still 17%.
Oh, need money.
115. Hopefully Damien stays dead, because that would be really annoying. Maybe if I lowered the work a bit. No. Fine, I'll go finish this, because this is... Pretty sure we're 1 week off solving this, or dying.
No, because... Would the curse get worse?
Oh, I don't know. The cafeteria ran out of cherry soda today, as the same person came back every 15 minutes and ordered the pop all through your shift. When a co-worker asked what the customer was doing with it, the answer was that it was top secret. Stifle of yawn, something or other. Hoping for better dreams. Thursday, 14th of August. 1 week has passed since your encounter with Damien, and though Tyrone assured you that a cure was at hand, nothing more has come of it. When pressed, he blushes and mumbles that while near, it would be a few more days. Needless to say, the delay caused the anger to rise within your breast, but you managed to quell it. Just for your own peace of mind, you kept your distance from everyone else around you. Then you see him out of the corner of your eye. I got your text to meet in the park. Afraid for your safety? Perhaps a little. You hear a faint tone of laughter in his voice, but underneath it you could tell there is a slight touch of fear as well. If I was that far gone, then all the other people here would be targets. True, but in that circumstance, all I would have to do is be able to outrun them.
Amusing. You've been rather quiet all week. I take it that the fact you're always talking to me indicative that something's changed. What? I take it that the fact that you're actually talking to me as indicative that something's changed. I apologize for the silence. Zoe figured it was better safe than sorry, especially if Damon had any allies looking for him. He's dead. What would be the point coming after him in that case? As you might figure out, just because he might be dead doesn't mean that has to be the end of things. Damn it. You mean someone could raise him up like a real zombie?
Perhaps, or something else. Heck, what if his ghost wanted vengeance? He would have the power to do so.
All right, but you still shouldn't have kept me in the dark. Still, why they delay? Is it some kind of magical reason as well?
Pretty much. Zoe wanted to wait until the stars and moons were aligned for the best results.
And if they weren't, what is the worst that could happen, other than dragging on this story?
Well, one possible side effect is that your curse could spill over and infect the whole town. Can you honestly expect most people to hold out as long as you did?
I'd like to think so, but that would be honestly naive. So, I take it Zoe's ready?
Yeah, though we still have our parts to play. We will have our parts to play. Our parts to play. We all gotta do stuff. Considering you first met Zoe at the university library, you were a little surprised to be coming to the museum. Normally it would be open, but this wing is temporarily closed for refurbishment. You passed several exhibits, and Tyrone pulled a fire extinguisher in one room, opening up a passage that led to another room.
Secret passages in a museum. That's something right out of a conspiracy novel.
Or a vampire movie. I think any building past a certain age would have a secret room or two. In fact, it is almost an unwritten rule among supernaturals.
I guess I could see why. I mean, if you need to talk to someone, it helps if they can't overhear you.
That, or else it makes disposing of bodies that much easier. Speaking of which, you glance in the corner and see Damien's corpse lying haphazardly on the ground. A few flies buzz around him, but there is remarkably little odour.
I see decay hasn't really set in. Did you embalm him?
Nope. He is as untouched as the day you crushed his skull.
Then how do you keep him from spoiling?
Lots and lots of salt.
Really?
No, but let's just say that after today I'm going to be looking for a new refrigerator. As the two of you talk, you hear one other person enter and assume it's to be Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
Whoa, dear goodness. Sorry, I hope I didn't keep you waiting long. I couldn't change earlier.
I understand. You look nice.
If you're being sarcastic.
No, far from it. I just didn't expect you to be wearing something like that.
I couldn't exactly wear it in public, not without saying we are going to a costume party.
Fair call.
Why didn't you say that?
Do I need to be wearing anything special?
No, you're fine as is. I mean, if you want to take off your clothes and I won't argue. What? You trying to get my girlfriend naked? No, just want to make her comfortable for what's to come.
Oh, what is that exactly?
Well, there is one way to cure your curse.
But if there wasn't, I assume you had a plan B?
That would be me. We're going to change the final target of the curse from you to me.
What?
I can't let you do that. I can't let someone else go through what I did, even if it cost me my life. Even if it will save you your life? I knew you would say something like this, but trust me, this'll work.
If you're sure, 'cause, you know...
Zoe readjusts her glasses, momentarily glistening from the overhead light.
Glasses? Not on that face there.
Excuse me. No, definitely no glasses on that face.
No, not at all.
Actually, Tyrone has nothing to fear. You see, the curse can only affect someone who has been born a normal human. Because I was born a were-lion, well, from a mystical perspective, I'm not. This would be enough to make the curse ineffective? Sort of giving a disease to someone who is naturally immune? Exactly.
Then why would we need Damien?
If it helps, think of this curse as a chain. On one end is the person who cast it.
Damien, that would mean the person at the other end
is you. However, while I can't break the chain, I can make some alterations, putting a few links, as it were.
So it doesn't matter if Damien's dead?
Nope. Well, it's nice to know. I was instinctive on hitting that button. I played too many games. Too much involvement with vampires. I don't know. Would you be? Oh, it doesn't matter. It was a choice. That was my choice. Nope. All we need is the body of the one who started it.
If you're certain this is going to work, then why delay? I know Tyrone mentioned something about spreading the curse, but
more than likely it would have worked earlier, but it was safer to minimize the possible outside influences.
Alright, so then what do I have to do?
First, we need to establish a magical link from Damien to you and then to Tyrone. Zoe pulls out a small golden ball which has hieroglyphics on the side. It hurts your eyes to look on, and you find yourself pulling back slightly. Zoe makes her way to Damien's body and kicks him onto the side before cutting several strips of skin off his back. Yay!
This link? Does it involve eating that skin?
If you would prefer some buttock, I could get another cut.
No, that's fine. That is going to be enough. I don't have to eat the whole body.
Not unless you really want to. I mean, if you are a cannibal, more power to you, but to establish the link doesn't require more. I'm not really looking forward to it either. Cannibalism is among the biggest taboos where folk have. So he starts to chant in a language you've never heard before, because, you haven't heard lots of languages. And the ends of your body tingle with electricity. You can feel the power start to gather, and the voices on the edge of your consciousness grow silent. 15 minutes pass before Zoe passes you the golden ball. Within you see a greenish liquid mass. You raise it to your lips and swallow. Almost immediately the urge to vomit rises within you, but you fight back, keeping it down. Tyrone raises the bowl himself and suddenly lets out a scream of pain. It burns. That is the magic, not the curse. Hold on until the transfer is complete. Nice punishment. You start to say something, but your body feels as if it's aflame as well. Blackness dances from the corners of your awareness. You hit the ground, arching your back as waves of pain course through you. All the while, Zoe continues chanting. Relief floods your senses as the pain ceases, and you feel whole somehow, exactly like you did before your curse. Then you become aware of a shadow creature standing before you, the same who assaulted Tyrone back at the Damien's house. Greetings, mortal. I can see you are breaking your curse. In doing so, you are breaking mine.
Oh, that's a good thing, I hope.
For me, certainly. For you, it is hard to say. Zoe's eyes widen as she continues to chant, but otherwise remains separate from what's happening.
What do you want?
Make a bargain. Convince me to leave. Give it Damien if it wants him. Damien was the one who caged you. If you want him, take him. Are you certain, mortal? There is power to be had within his form. Just take it and leave us alone. Then the bargain is made. The shadow grows wider, overlapping Damien's form, and the two start to fade from view. Once gone, Zoe ceases her chanting. Oh, you shrunk! You rush over to Tyrone's body and see that he's breathing heavily. He raises his head and licks your cheek with a tongue feeling a bit like sandpaper. You didn't say it was going to hurt. I thought it went without saying, sorry. You might have changed your mind going through with it. So what now? Do I have to drink any other vile concoction? Murder a kid? Only if you wish to. The curse is gone, and you may do as you wish. Me, I still have a show I wish to catch. A show? You got a show? There's a slight cough, and you see Tyrone is back in human form, though he appears to be a little weak. Could you give me a hand up? Sure, let's get out of here. Yay! Your work was delayed by several hours as several men and women in black suits cordoned off part of the university and forbid anyone from entering. Little a note happened today except for the customer who ordered a banana split and insisted that hot sauce be included as one of the toppings. Roughly a week has passed since you were cured of your curse, and the change was almost miraculous. All the black spots and your pale skin disappeared, and your nights are much more restful with the nightmares gone. I love you, Zoe. Lots of hugs and kisses. Much of your supernatural strength and speed. Alliteration. My one weakness. Supernatural strength and speed have fled as well, but you still retain a trace of it. Then you let all such thoughts fade from your consciousness as you feel the welcoming warmth of the sun on your shoulders as well as the sand beneath your feet. Then you hear a bark. Nick comes running towards you. Oof! You bend down to give him a pet, but your dog hesitates slightly. It's me, I swear it, Nick. He gives a tentative snick of your hand and licks it. Pants happily. I really can't blame him. I mean, I did say a while back that your odor had changed back with the curse. From his perspective, he thought you were a different person. Yep. Are you telling me that you can now speak dog, Tyrone? Hardly, but when you're a shapeshifter, there's certain modes of thought you can anticipate. Yeah. So, does the lion side of you dominate, or the human side? Both and neither. There's a blending, so instinct or rational thought may take control as the situation merits. I'll take your word for it. So, my scent, there's no curse to it? Nope, you smell better than you ever have. You know, telling someone they stink really takes on a whole different meaning when you date a shapeshifter. I'm just glad you're not wearing a strong perfume. Some of the natural scents are alright, but others, well, they give me a headache. So I'm being chased by werewolves. I should dump a gallon of perfume to hide my trail. That might work, actually, or at least drive their doggy brains crazy. Not talking about you, big guy. You're good in my book. The dog goes humph. Oh, dogs do that. They sniff. They sort of sneeze. And it's like, nah, not interested. You glance back at the beach house, rented from the other game, and find it a little hard to believe that you have the run of the place. So your parents own this, and they're fine with me being here? That would be weird, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's Mum's actually, but she was cool with letting us use it. The only thing she wanted was to meet you later. It's only fair, I guess. I mean, you did meet my mum and dad. Speaking of which, did your mum get the autographed jersey? Yep. She's now pricing display cases, seeing how much it would cost to fill it with argon gas. God help me. I always hated chemistry. Why argon gas? They'll help it keep from rotting. She intends for it to last a long time. You don't know whether I'm pleased or frightened. Probably a little of both. Then a look of concern crosses Tyrone's face and he gives you your hand a gentle squeeze. Is everything alright with you? I wasn't sure whether to ask or not, but I can't deny being a little worried. So far so good, although I don't think I'll ever be able to tell my dad what exactly happened. It does make me wonder if there's anything you're going to miss. Oh, I suppose. of it. I will miss his strength and speed, even just a little. Doesn't take long to take that for granted. I know there were a lot of times I wish I could take on my wereform in public. I'd be worried if someone would like to make a fur rug out of me. The joke's on them. Shapeshifter dies and revert back to the form they were born in. So in the case of were lions, there aren't a lot of ways to skin a cat. No, your puns! The puns are killing me. I haven't improved with your cure. So what's the plan now? Make sandcastles? If you wish. I was actually thinking we might get some dinner first. Lead the way. What? So you went inside and found a scrumptious meal waiting for you in a bubble bath, apparently. And hot water massaged your skin, and for a moment you felt like you were going to melt. You did not mention the hot tub. I thought it would be a pleasant surprise. Although it is rather cozy, don't you think? Well, I suppose you could always cut off my legs if you need more room. Why? That would be a waste. Besides, I have a much better idea. Oh. Whatever. You lean forward and press your lips against Tyrone, and for a moment all goes quiet as you can feel his face flush. When you pull back, Tyrone has a dazed expression on his face. Not too bad, I hope. Only the best kiss ever. Darn. Now I don't know if I'll be able to top it. I'm game to try if you are. Sounds like a promise. Can we stop now? Tyrone then leans over and presses his head against yours. Soon all thoughts of the past few months leave your mind behind. Money earned less than $1,000. Yeah, I spent it all on de-stressing. As preoccupied as Catelyn was with overcoming her curse, she failed to raise enough money and ended up living with her parents for another 6 months. Oh, the humility. Eventually, Catelyn found what they thought was a good affordable apartment. It wasn't until the walls started to bleed that Catelyn realized why her new accommodations were so cheap. Despite the trouble she experienced over the summer, Catelyn went to work for a major pharmaceutical company. Catelyn was poised for a big promotion when she noticed that one of the new drugs seemed to be causing a lot of more adverse side effects than was reported, effects which could only be considered supernatural. Reporting this to her superiors did little good, but it did attract the attention of a nameless government agency who recruited her to help investigate the paranormal. Nick continues revel in the attention he gets from Catelyn, all past fear forgiven with a simple biscuit treat. Tyrone continued playing basketball through college and managed to get a starting role on a national team. Though it took a couple years, Tyrone's skills allowed him to dominate the court. The only regret Tyrone had is that Catelyn wasn't his biggest fan, or rather, her mother, Mohona, was. Oh. Yeah, alright. You see what this problem is? There's only one person here. That's what that problem is. It's very, very, very good for one person. You need multiple people to make that game scripting? That's interesting. You still need multiple people. That still doesn't count. Sound artists. I'm sorry, sound artists. The game was too noisy. Oh, we had barking.
We had barking and some scary noises. Renpei engine. Renpei. Learn how to script yourself. Very good. It's all good. Enjoy the game. I'm intrigued to see if I could tweak it to make it like not a zombie but something else. I'm not sure. Amo conducen ad una morte. Something about death. Alright. Game over. So that was fun. Quite enjoyed it. The dreams was... I mean, if you wanted to play a horror game, the genre of vampires and zombies and apocalypse type stuff, you really can't pick and choose. So if there's ghosts and you don't like ghosts, you gotta deal with it. In this case, it was waking dreams, which are awful, and you really feel for the character. If you've ever had a waking dream, it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly. Anyway, I guess game's over. Well, thank you everybody for hanging around so long. And I'll see you next time. You have a good night. Bye.